The Throne of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Mecha Fighting Competition. Hans Grandet let out a long sigh. At this time, the communication system of the 1524 club had collapsed. In just a short while, they received orders for more than a dozen Dragoon mechas, and there were countless communications to cut and to inquire about the situation of the Dragoon Warlord mecha. At this time, it was not only the designers of the Flying Wolf who were troubled, but even the knowledgeable Xia was unsure. In the video playback, it can be seen that Xia Xingchen was deceived at first. His mecha was facing the mirror image. As for how he found out later, Xia attributed it all to the powerful detection system of the Dragoon Warlord mecha. But the truth was unknown to everyone except Xia Xingchen. This had nothing to do with the performance of the mecha. Pantsev actually made small moves within the scope of the inside skill. All of this was seen by Xia Xingchen. He simply used the same trick. The jet flame of the thruster was just a strong light to cover up the truth. His real purpose was to prepare the floating gun. Xia Xingchen had just got off the mecha when good news came one after another. His next opponent, a student from the Military Command Academy, won a bitter victory in a fierce battle with another player from the Northern Administrative District, but his mecha was almost completely scrapped except for the cockpit. The mecha master himself was seriously injured and had to withdraw from the competition. Xia Xingchen directly got the chance to advance to the semi-finals, and his next opponent was Angelica. He carefully studied every game of Angelica. Her Blood Fox mecha was a melee mecha with super high agility and speed. Every player who fought with him could not last more than 30 seconds. Moreover, Angelica knew a variety of combat skills, which was far beyond the level of C-level mecha masters. But soon, he received a more shocking news. The remaining 4 mecha masters of the Northern Administrative District, led by Angelica, collectively withdrew from the competition. Xia Xingchen thus directly entered the finals. A few hours ago, in Angelica's room, she was using a portable encrypted communication device to contact Andre. Andre, what do you mean, let us withdraw from the competition? We paid such a high price, many people died, and we were about to win the championship. How can you let me stop at this time? Angelica was very excited. This is an order from above. We have no choice but to execute it. Andre's cold mask showed no emotion at all. If we can't win the championship, how can we carry out our talent recruitment plan? We have been preparing for this plan 3 years ago. Now, this championship is the most critical link, which will directly affect the success or failure of our entire plan. Angelica completely exploded. A group of villains who sell out the country for profit are not as important as one of our own soldiers. Andre said expressionlessly, and he added, this is the original words of His Majesty Nicholas. Hearing this, Angelica was silent, and the two looked at each other silently through the communication equipment. Angelica, we have lost too many elites in the competition. Rugani, Pantsev. We really don't want to lose you. You know, it costs a lot to train an excellent mecha master. The Empire can afford this price, but we can't. We can't lose you again. We must use our lives in more meaningful places. Andre continued. I know, I will obey orders. The collective withdrawal of the students from the Northern Administrative District did not cause an uproar. People are no longer surprised by this. By this time, many mechas have been seriously damaged. There was a competition in which 7 mechas were completely paralyzed and could not continue to fight after the top 8 were decided. As a result, the only mecha that could still move barely won the championship without fighting. 2 days later, Xia Xingchen's opponent in the final was announced. He was a D-level mecha master named Hao Cheng, who was also a freshman at the Imperial Military Command Academy this year. Xia Xingchen had seen his game. He was driving a pure melee mecha that looked very simple. The battle was mainly close combat. The mecha held a 5-meter long alloy stick, which was very powerful, and it was obvious that this person was good at martial arts. Since the competition was to be held the next day, Xia Xingchen did the final maintenance and upkeep on the mecha to ensure that it was in the best condition. Not long after, he welcomed Hans and Aren in his room. The two came to Xianwei 13 in person to cheer them up. Xingchen, your opponent tomorrow is very important. You must be careful. He is from the Holy Temple, Dai Ren said with a serious look. Holy Temple? What is that? I have never heard of it. Xia Xingchen said. Although what I'm going to tell you next is no longer a secret in the upper echelons of the empire, I still hope you will keep it secret and don't tell ordinary people about it. Dai Ren warned, and Xia Xingchen and Hans nodded. So Dai Ren introduced them to the Holy Temple organization and the opponent Xia Xingchen was going to face. Thousands of years ago, humans entered the cosmic age and began to fully develop the Milky Way. At that time, the Galactic Empire had not yet been unified, and several major forces were busy looking for new habitable planets and mineral resource planets, constantly expanding their power and seizing territory. Many planets were occupied by humans, followed by large-scale planetary development and transformation. However, this universe is not just about humans. Soon, these humans were attacked by Zerg and some very unfriendly alien races. In the past 1,000 years, hundreds of human planets have been counterattacked and massacred by Zerg or alien creatures, and nearly 10 billion humans have died. More than 500 years ago, it was the Galactic Warring States era before the establishment of the Galactic Empire, and there were constant wars between various forces. At this time, a Zerg wandering in space suddenly arrived and turned dozens of human planets into Zerg's dining table. Because the governments of various countries at that time were busy with the human civil war, they were unwilling to deal with these bugs, which was a very thankless task. Their attitude angered some knowledgeable people. So 10 S-class mecha divisions from various countries in the universe stood up and established the Temple organization. They did not intervene in any wars between humans, but only dealt with alien creatures and bugs. Under their powerful attack, this Zerg was wiped out by humans. The powerful strength shown by the Temple organization made major political forces fearful. Later, a powerful country had evil intentions towards the Holy Temple, and the angry Holy Temple dispatched 10 S-class mecha divisions to massacre the royal family, military and government officials of this country. Since then, the Holy Temple has established its transcendent status in the Milky Way. Chapter 127 Mecha Fighting Competition. Later, after the Galactic Empire was unified, the Holy Temple was still fighting on the battlefield against alien creatures, silently guarding mankind. The Holy Temple did not have a so-called supreme leader. For many years, 10 S-class mecha divisions had been in charge of the overall situation. Their personnel mainly came from orphans on planets that were harmed by alien creatures. The Holy Temple gave them very strict and even cruel training, and such personnel were called monks. The best monks would enter the Holy Temple after meeting the requirements and become Templars, while others became peripheral members of the Holy Temple. After the unification of the Galactic Empire, such a unified and powerful empire could not accept such a powerful force under its rule without supervision. After years of consultation, the Galactic Empire and the Holy Temple reached an agreement. Among the 10 S-class mecha division elders of the Holy Temple, one joined the royal family and the other joined the military to serve the royal family in the military. The royal family gave the Holy Temple a certain degree of independence and the right to retain arms. This dispelled the empire's vigilance. The contestant, Hao Cheng, is a monk. He is one of the 10 elders of the Holy Temple and the last disciple of Elder Bell, who is the leader of the 4 Royal Guardian Knights. Elder Bell is not only an S-class mecha master, but also a martial arts master. His martial arts skills are even better than those of the 3 kin brothers. Hao Cheng is now a monk, but in order to make the most of his future battles, the Holy Temple sent him to the Imperial Military Command Academy to study and further his studies. Every year, the Holy Temple selects a large number of monks to study in various military academies in the Milky Way, and they have very good relations with major arms groups. Hao Cheng's mecha is a special mecha. The proportions of this mecha are similar to those of the human body, with slightly longer arms, and the whole mecha looks very simple and plain. It has almost no means of long-range attack, and its only weapon is a long alloy stick. This alloy stick is 4.6 meters long, and is made of a special cosmic alloy. A special material inside it enables it to sense the mecha master's external mental power. Through the magnetic material in the iron stick, it guides the mecha to release a powerful energy field to kill the opponent. This is a powerful air-level mecha weapon. It was a gift from his teacher when he was a disciple of Bell Knight. Hao Cheng's personal mecha was exchanged for his military exploits. Children chosen by the temple will be required to participate in the battle, even when they are very young. Hao Cheng is 21 years old this year. When he was 15 years old, he took up weapons to fight the bugs. He accumulated all his military exploits over the years and exchanged them for this Monkey King mecha. Monkey King mecha, height 5.3 meters, parameters, strength 30, agility 28, armor 30, speed 25. This mecha looks like a human, but its head is in the shape of a monkey. Its armor is very strong, and the supporting components of the mecha are all high strength alloys. The main weapon of the Monkey King mecha is the alloy iron stick. In addition, the head, shoulders, elbows, knees, and feet of the mecha have been strengthened, so it can hit the opponent's mecha. In addition, there are 3 retractable alloy claws in its forearms. Looking at the information of the opponent's mecha, and listening to Dairen's narration, Xia Xingchen fell into deep thought. How is it? Do you have a good chance? Hans Grandet asked. The opponent is very strong. From the game video, it can be seen that he has been hiding his strength. But I'm the same, but no matter what, I will fight with all my strength. It is still unknown who will win. Xia Xingchen's eyes were filled with desire. Ladies and gentlemen, after many days of waiting, our 66th Xia Xingchen Military Academy mecha fighting competition has finally entered the final moment. The 2 strongest young warriors will compete in this competition. These 2 are Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng from the Imperial Military Command Academy. For many years, the Royal Military Academy has performed better in this competition, and more players have entered the finals. This year, the situation has reversed. Look, the conveyor belt is sending the mecha and the 2 players to the center of the venue. The grey mecha is Xia Xingchen's Dragon Rider, and the khaki mecha is Hao Cheng's Monkey King mecha. These 2 mechas look very low-key in appearance, but behind this low-keyness lies a powerful force. Is the Dragon Rider system of the Dragon Rider mecha more powerful, or is the air-level mecha weapon alloy long stick of the Monkey King mecha more powerful? Let us wait and see. This game is still hosted by the former A-class mecha master and famous commentator Jinshek, who also adjusted his condition to the best level today. The countdown ended, the green light came on, and the 2 mechas did not move, but the engines continued to output. They were all observing and looking for the opponent's flaws. Xia Xingchen took the lead in launching an attack. The mecha laser rifle in his right hand and the twin laser cannons on his shoulders fired at the same time. 5 lasers attacked the mecha's head, legs and other parts respectively. The Monkey King mecha swung the alloy long stick, and the stick shadows were connected into one. Xia Xingchen could feel that as the long stick was swung, a force field was formed in the trajectory of the long stick's movement. The 5 lasers hit the force field and bounced off. The Monkey King mecha then started running, waving the alloy iron stick, and smashing down at Xia Xingchen. The Dragon Rider mecha's thrusters were fully turned on, and it fired at the opponent while moving. The Monkey King mecha evaded with various movements agilely, and blocked with a long stick when it couldn't dodge. After fighting for only 1 minute, Xia Xingchen found that the opponent was difficult to deal with. With this attack method, it was difficult to hurt the opponent, and if he continued to consume energy like this, his mecha's energy would definitely be exhausted first. He activated the Dragoon system without hesitation, and 3 floating guns soared into the sky, quickly bypassing the back of the Monkey King mecha to launch an attack. The Monkey King mecha used all its skills to avoid the attack. However, some lasers still hit the mecha. However, this level of lasers can only leave a few shallow marks on it. Every 2 minutes or so, the Dragoon Warrior mecha automatically replaced 3 floating guns, and the other 3 floating guns came back to recharge. Chapter 128 Mecha Fighting Competition. The situation is now in a stalemate. The defense of the Monkey King mecha is very effective. The laser has no effect on its mecha armor. It is rare for contestant Xia Xingchen to be able to maintain such a high firepower output while still being able to control the Dragoon system freely. It can be seen that the movement trajectory, attack frequency and rhythm of each of his floating guns are different, which means that they are not controlled by computers at all, but by the mecha master himself. This powerful control ability is amazing, and most A-level mecha masters probably can't do it. Think about it. A person is drawing with his left hand, writing with his right hand, watching a movie with his eyes, playing the harmonica with his mouth, and kicking a football with his feet. This is what it feels like. However, although contestant Xia Xingchen is more dominant on the field now, his mecha consumes too much energy. If this continues, it will be very disadvantageous for him. Jin Keek made a very scientific analysis, and Xia Xingchen's friends all felt a little worried. No, we can't go on like this. There is not enough energy. At this time, it has been 15 minutes since the start of the game. The battery of the Dragoon system has run out, and the energy of the mecha laser rifle has been used up. Xia Xingchen could only put down the mecha rifle helplessly, and the 6 floating guns also landed on the ground 200 or 300 meters away. The Dragoon warrior faced the Monkey King mecha, and drew out the mecha light sword, with the tip of the sword pointing at the Monkey King. The commentator Jin Shek suddenly became excited and shouted, "Look, Xia Xingchen's Dragoon system and mecha laser rifle have run out of energy. It seems that he is going to give up long-range attacks, and choose close combat." Now the situation on the scene has completely reversed. Although Xia Xingchen's close combat ability is also very strong, his mecha is a bit too heavy. Who will win in the end? Let's wait and see. Hao Cheng saw Xia Xingchen's actions. His face was expressionless. He had undergone strict training since he was a child, and he could not be affected by emotions at any time on the battlefield. Any joy, anger, sorrow, happiness, and fear on the battlefield will bring death. He adjusted the posture of the mecha and rushed towards Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen had entered the state of insight at this time. Through analyzing the opponent's movements, the appearance of the mecha and other data, he found that the stick was extremely powerful. The electric sword could not resist it at all. It would be broken if it touched it. It was also a stupid idea to use an alloy shield to resist it. Not to mention whether the strength of the shield could withstand the attack of the long stick. Even if it was blocked, the arms and other parts of the mecha would be injured. Thinking of this, he stepped on the power pedal suddenly, and the mecha flew into the air in an instant, and then retreated more than 10 meters. The Monkey King mecha followed it closely, with a long stick full of power. Xia Xingchen did not dare to confront him directly. He tried his best to dodge, and wanted to counterattack with the electric sword, but found that the opponent's long stick was impenetrable. Too passive, no power to fight back. If this continues, it is only a matter of time before Xia Xingchen loses. Jin Keek said regretfully. At this moment, Xia Xingchen suddenly had an idea. He had just landed 6 floating guns on the ground, and now each floating gun still had about 1 minute of energy reserve. In this game, they have basically completed their historical mission. So now, they can make use of their last surplus value. Thinking of this, he used his mental power to give orders to the 2 nearest floating guns. Hao Cheng's mecha was still pressing forward step by step, not giving Xia Xingchen any chance to adjust. Suddenly, a premonition of danger came to his mind, and a shrill alarm sounded in the cockpit of the mecha. Missile? Hao Cheng was very confused, because this was an alarm that the mecha was locked by the fire control system. He glanced around, and saw 2 objects on his left, and behind the mecha coming at him at high speed. He instantly understood that it was a floating gun. He knew that, although being hit by this thing would not be fatal, it would definitely cause damage to the mecha and affect its attack capability. At this time, he had no time to think about it. He could only give up attacking Xia Xingchen. The mecha suddenly jumped to the right, and the alloy iron rod swept across. Boom. Boom. After 2 explosions, Hao Cheng was barely able to control the mecha. At this time, Xia Xingchen had retreated more than 100 meters away. What a clever operation. Xia Xingchen did not use up all the energy of the Dragoon system, but reserved it. He was about to lose, and he might be defeated in a few more rounds. But he used the Dragoon system very cleverly, and the floating gun completed his last historical mission. If Hao Cheng did not dodge, he would suffer a lot of damage. Now Xia Xingchen has regained her chance to breathe. Oh my god, what is this? Jin Keek was frightened by the scene in front of him. Xia Xingchen threw away the alloy shield in his left hand, and pulled out a light energy sword. Then, the thrusters on the flywheel disc behind the Dragoon warrior mecha suddenly started working, and hundreds of millions of eyes watched the flywheel disc leave the mecha mother body and slowly fall to the ground. Oh my god, what is this? This is the first time I have seen a Dragoon system that can be freely decomposed from the mother body. Xia Xingchen is a genius in design. This reduces the weight of the Dragoon by nearly 40%, which greatly improves its mobility and endurance. Jinchek explained. In fact, due to the large volume occupied by the Dragoon system, all designers used integrated design in the past, and the integrated design makes the Dragoon system and the mecha mother body a tight whole, inseparable. Xia Xingchen's design once again broke people's common sense. Hao Cheng smiled, and Xia Xingchen also smiled. For Hao Cheng, Xia Xingchen was a strong enough and respectable opponent. Only by fighting against such an opponent could he make further improvements. Xia Xingchen was freed from all constraints and could fight with all his strength. Hao Cheng increased the speed of the mecha, swinging his long stick like the wind. The stick technique he used was taught by his teacher. No one could remember when this unnamed stick technique was passed down from whom. In addition to its powerful power, people also found that this stick technique was very suitable for mechas. Generally speaking, the power of many human martial arts may decrease when used on mechas, but this unnamed stick technique doubles its power when applied to mechas. Moreover, even if a person has no martial arts foundation, this unnamed stick technique can exert amazing power after mastering it. At the age of 16, Hao Cheng killed a 3-meter-long alien bug with his own hands with this stick technique. Xia Xingchen dodged Hao Cheng's attack. He felt a little strange. Hao Cheng's stick technique felt very familiar to him, as if he had seen it somewhere. What he could be sure of was that this stick technique was definitely not the martial arts that Colonel Besi or Qin Ren had taught him. But apart from learning from the two people, he had never come into contact with any martial arts again. As Hao Cheng used more and more mecha moves, and the speed increased, Xia Xingchen was highly focused. At this time, the crystal pyramid in Xia Xingchen's mind suddenly rotated at a high speed, and Xia Xingchen's thoughts were sucked into that world. Under the huge crystal pyramid, a group of ape soldiers were practicing martial arts under the leadership of an ape dressed as a general. Each of them carried a long stick, and the stick method they used was exactly what the Monkey King mecha in front of them was using. Thoughts drifted to a farther place. The ape mecha was fighting a bloody battle with the mecha of the celestial beings. A golden ape-shaped mecha wielded a golden long stick, and it also used this set of stick methods. Thoughts slowly overlapped with reality, and Xia Xingchen's eyes were empty. He clearly knew what the opponent's next move was, and he also understood where the flaws of each of his opponent's moves were. At this time, the shadows of sticks in the arena were like mountains, and the double swords were like wind. All the spectators could not see the movements of the two clearly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 Mecha Fighting Competition. Hao Cheng was getting more and more frightened as he fought. He found that he was completely figured out by his opponent. Every move he made would be targeted, and even his opponent was setting traps for him at any time. This made him very uncomfortable, but it also aroused his ferocity. This was a good opportunity to break through himself and improve himself. His speed was getting faster and faster. Even if you can see through my moves, so what? As long as I'm faster than you can't do anything. Hao Cheng thought to himself. Another half an hour passed, and the alarms in the cockpits of the two people sounded almost at the same time. The red alarm lights flashed at high speed, and the alarms screamed shrilly. The energy reserves of the two people reached a very dangerous situation at the same time, less than 5%. The two mechas crossed, and stood opposite each other 50 centimeters apart. Xia Xingchen connected to the announcement communication channel. I'm running out of energy, and I think you're almost there too. How about we decide the outcome with one move? That's what I meant, Hao Cheng agreed. Both mechas retreated dozens of meters, and began to adjust the mechas, preparing to launch the final attack. The conversation between the two was heard by all the viewers through the live broadcast. They held their breath, and looked forward to the arrival of this last moment. Hao Cheng accelerated the circulation of blood and mental power in his body. At this time, his body temperature in the cockpit suddenly rose, and his whole body turned red. He was going to use the most powerful move of the nameless stick method, creation of heaven and earth. This stick must be supported by the secret method of his master, at the cost of burning all his physical and mental strength. He only used this move once. That time, he drove the mecha, and beat a huge mother insect with a body length of more than 500 meters into a pulp. Encountering such a strong enemy today, he couldn't control his desire to win. The same was true for Xia Xingchen and the mecha of the Dragon Rider warrior on the opposite side. The mental power in the spiritual sea had been drained, and the mental power in the crystal pyramid was also pouring out continuously. These mental powers were all condensed on the mecha and the light energy sword. Hao Cheng raised the alloy long stick and prepared to launch a charge. Xia Xingchen crossed his two swords in front of him and stepped on the power pedal to the bottom. The two players are preparing for the final blow. Look, they are charging. So fast. There is an after image. Damn, what's going on? The moment the two mechas were about to collide, all the cameras in the arena lost the signal. 10 seconds later, the video signal was restored, and everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. The alloy ground of the arena had disappeared, and a large pit with a diameter of about 2 kilometers and a depth of 1 meter appeared on the arena with the collision point as the center. All the facilities in the arena, including dozens of high-speed cameras, were destroyed by the huge shock wave generated by the collision. At the same time, in the center of the explosion point, the mechas of the two players collapsed on the ground, and from the appearance, they were severely damaged. And in the air not far from them, two mechas were hovering. What's going on? Jinchek was also a little dumbfounded. At this time, the director transmitted the image captured by a camera located a few kilometers away. Just as the Dragon Rider and the Monkey King mechas were slowly accelerating and preparing to decide the winner, two red lights rushed into the center of the arena at high speed from a distance. The camera image slowed down again and magnified several times, and people could see clearly that they were two mechas. One of the mechas was golden, and its weapon was also a golden alloy stick. The entire mecha looked very similar to the Monkey King mecha. The other mecha was completely black, and the entire mecha released a murderous aura. The weapon was a black alloy longsword. The super slow motion showed that just when Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng's mechas were about to collide directly, the golden mecha raised its long stick and hit Hao Cheng's mecha's long stick from top to bottom. The alloy longsword of the black mecha also slashed on Xia Xingchen's light energy double swords. The sudden intervention of external forces caused the two to hit the ground with their full strength. The huge shockwave destroyed everything within a radius of 2 kilometers. The external armor of the Monkey King mecha and the Dragon Rider mecha was severely damaged. As for the two mechas that came later, two energy shields appeared on the outside of their mechas at the moment the shockwave was generated, which made their mechas not damaged at all. Oh my god, the competition has been intervened by someone. This has never happened in the 66 years of the Xia Neo and Star Military Academy mecha fighting competition. Who is so bold? Jinkeek shouted. At this time, more than a dozen backup cameras moved over from not far away and took a close-up of the two mechas. This behavior of disrupting the competition is too bad. It must be severely punished. No. Seeing the close-up of the mecha lens, Jinkeek bit his tongue. Ah. Woo. Fight. Victory Buddha and Heaven Kill. Oh my god, it's Night Bell and Admiral Von Riddle. As a former soldier and A-class mecha master, he is very familiar with the legendary S-class mecha masters of the Galactic Empire and their mechas. A few minutes later, dozens of mechas came to the center of the venue to rescue the two mecha masters who had fallen into a coma. The Fight Victory Buddha mecha and the Heaven Kill mecha flew to the command and control center of Xianwei 13. The two S-class mecha masters held urgent consultations with the organizers of the competition and representatives of the military. Half an hour later, the organizers of the Xia Neo Military Academy mecha fighting competition issued an announcement. Out of consideration for protecting talents, the organizers of the competition specially arranged two S-level mecha masters to secretly protect the two contestants participating in the finals. The two mecha masters unanimously determined that the final blow of the two contestants would cause the two outstanding young mecha masters to perish together. This violated the original intention of the competition to select talents and cultivate excellent mecha masters, so the 2S level mecha masters intervened in the competition. As for the result of the competition, Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng tied for the championship of this mecha fighting competition. Chapter 130. After the game, Xia Xingchen slowly woke up from his coma again, and he found himself lying in the biotherapy chamber. He smiled bitterly. It seemed that he had fainted in battle more than once or twice. The sea of spirituality was empty, and it seemed that it would take a long time to recover. At this time, he felt pain all over his body, and he knew that there must be fractures in his body. Helplessly, he could only stay in the biotherapy chamber and receive biotherapy repairs. Xia Xingchen simply entered meditation. A few days later, he was fished out of the canned biotherapy chamber and entered an ordinary single ward. At this time, it had been a week since the end of the Xia Xingchen Military Academy mecha fighting competition. Xia Xingchen was sitting on the bed meditating. Every time he went through a life and death battle or his mental power was exhausted, the total amount of mental power would have an explosive growth. He wanted to take this opportunity to consolidate and see if there would be any new gains. Who knew that visitors would come one after another at this time? The door of the ward was opened, and Han's granddad's loud voice could be heard from a distance. Xingchen, we are here to see you. This caused dissatisfaction among several doctors and nurses in the corridor, and several pairs of eyes rolled at him. Han stuck out his tongue in embarrassment. Xingchen was interrupted from his meditation, and when he looked up, it turned out to be Hans, Dayren and Li Xiaomin. How do you feel, Xingchen? Li Xiaomin asked. Very bad. I don't know what happened. Where am I now? Xia Xingchen asked, puzzled. I was just fished out of the big can a few hours ago. I want to tell you some good news. First, our 1524 Mecha Club won the team championship of the Xia Neo and Star Mecha Maintenance Design Fighting Competition. As a reward, the three of you will receive a total of 100 million star coins in cash rewards. Second, Xia Xingchen, you won the championship of the Xia Neo and Star Military Academy Mecha Fighting Competition. Although it was a tie, there will be a series of unexpected rewards next. Third, our 1524 Mech Club has received 124 orders for customized Dragon Rider mechas. It seems that we are going to make a fortune. Hans' granddad's eyes narrowed into slits with joy. At this time, Li Xiaomin also added, in view of the excellent performance of the Dragon Rider mech in this competition, Tang Dynasty Group has decided to start mass production of this mech in 3 months. The initial price of the low-end version is 600 million star coins per unit. According to the original patent transfer agreement, for every Dragon Rider mech sold by Tang Dynasty Group, you will get 5%, which is at least 30 million star coins. Hans said with emotion, there is an old saying in our family that technology is money. I didn't understand it at the beginning, but now I have a deep understanding of it. Let me ask you, I'm the champion of the mech fighting competition you just mentioned? And what about the joint champion? I can't remember what happened at all. I only remember that I charged at my opponent with all my strength, and then I knew nothing. When I woke up again, I found myself in the treatment chamber. Xia Xingchen was puzzled. Let me explain. Dayren said, at the last moment of the final, when you and Hao Cheng were going to fight, 2S class mecha masters, Hao Cheng's master, the Royal Guardian Knight of Bell, and Admiral von Riddle of the Imperial Army, suddenly intervened in your game. Both your and Hao Cheng's mecha weapons were attacked, so your full strength attacks hit the ground, otherwise, we would not see you now. The official statement is that, in order to cherish talents and fear that you two would have accidents, 2S class mecha masters were sent to protect you early. But as far as I know, this is the personal behavior of the two adults. Because even if the Tang Dynasty Group came forward, it would not be so big to invite 2S class mecha masters to protect you to unknown people. How is Hao Cheng? Xia Xingchen asked with concern. Much better than you. Concussion, 2 fractures, and woke up after a day of coma. On the contrary, you have severely overdrawn your mental strength, suffered a severe concussion, and multiple fractures. Dayren curled his lips, looking helpless. At this time, the communicator in the ward rang, and someone asked to come. The door of the ward opened, and a short man with bronze skin walked in. He had black hair and small but bright eyes. The muscles on his body were tight and the lines were smooth. He came to Xia Xingchen's bed and stretched out his right hand to shake hands with him. Xia Xingchen felt that this person's palm was full of calluses. Hello. Xia Xingchen, I'm Hao Cheng. I couldn't control myself during the game, which caused you to be injured. I feel very sorry and came to see you specially. I'm sorry to tell you. Hao Cheng's face flushed slightly and he spoke shyly. This also won the favor of everyone in the room. It's nothing. It's a competition. Everyone wants to win. Besides, I had this awareness the day I became a mecha master. You don't have to blame yourself. Xia Xingchen comforted him. The two exchanged a few polite words, and Hao Cheng seemed to be hesitant, as if he had something to say, but was embarrassed to speak. Brother Hao Cheng, is there something wrong with you? Don't worry, just ask if you need any help. As long as we can help, we will never refuse. Xia Xingchen said, and several people around nodded in agreement. Hao Cheng whispered, you know, my Monkey King mecha was seriously damaged in the competition. These days I have looked for all the repair shops on Commercial Street, and they all said they couldn't solve it. I also went to your 1524 Mecha Club, and your Bally repairman said he couldn't solve it either, so I asked you to come and help. Oh. What kind of damage would discourage so many repair shops? You know, the repair level of the military academy's Commercial Street is also one of the best in the entire Xianyuan Star region. Xia Xingchen was a little confused. Let me say a few words. Li Xiaoman interrupted him. The Monkey King mecha, the prototype is a kind of monk mecha produced by our Tang Dynasty group decades ago. This mecha is also called a fighting mecha. This mecha has a very high degree of anthropomorphism. The supporting skeleton, external armor and control system of the mecha have all been specially strengthened. The mecha is excellent in strength, agility, and maneuverability. However, the weapon system of this mecha is relatively simple, and the appearance is too simple. More importantly, the cost of this mecha, the lowest configuration version also costs 1 billion star coins. When it was launched decades ago, sales were dismal. However, later, the people in the Holy Temple saw this mecha and their eyes lit up. Because this mecha can exert great power with their martial arts. From then on, this mecha withdrew from the market, and it and its upgraded version began to be exclusively supplied to the Holy Temple. That's true. I didn't expect that your 1524 mecha club is so strong. You all know such a secret thing. He was a little surprised. Don't worry, I have the drawings of this mecha in my study. Li Xiaoman said. Chapter 131 Visitors. There is one more problem. I estimate that my mecha is seriously damaged, and the cost of repair will be very high. But with the prize money of this competition, I only have 250 million star coins. I'm afraid it will not be enough. Can you help me repair the mech first? I will use my vacation time to do bounty missions, and then give you the remaining repair fee. Hao Cheng's face was completely red. This topic was indeed very embarrassing, and difficult to talk about. That's no problem. I agree, but I have a better plan. Do you want to hear it? Han's granddad's eyes lit up. He knew that the opportunity to make money had come again. Please go ahead, Boss Hans. Hao Cheng was very curious. Where do you usually store your mech? Hans asked. The military academy has a personal mecha warehouse next to the training ground on Xianyuan Star. It is rented for 1.2 million star coins per year, and there is only a simple mecha maintenance operating table inside. How about this? We will only charge you 200 million star coins for the maintenance fee, but the actual repair fee will be much higher, even doubled. Our only additional condition is that within 1 year after your mecha is repaired, when you are not using it, I hope you can park it in our newly built exhibition hall. I will prepare 2 mecha display positions specifically for the Monkey King mecha and the Dragon Rider Warrior mecha of the stars for customers to visit our store. What do you think? Hans knew very well that it was worth paying a few 100 million star coins more for the repair fee of the strongest mecha in the mecha fighting competition as a publicity gimmick. Hao Cheng thought for a long time and finally nodded in agreement. On the one hand, he didn't want to owe others money, and on the other hand, he had his own plans during the holiday, so he had to repair the mecha as soon as possible. After seeing off his roommates and Hao Cheng, Xia Xingchen had just begun to continue meditating when someone knocked on the door to visit again. The door opened, and the person who walked into the room was Lieutenant General von Klausch, the commander of the 3rd Fleet of the Galactic Empire. Xia Xingchen wanted to stand up and salute, but was held down by the general. "General, why are you here?" Xia Xingchen was very curious. "It's all about Nicholas last month." Von Klausch looked unhappy. It turned out that the assassination of Nicholas made the Imperial military and the Imperial Intelligence Department very passive. The Emperor Kinzeng of the Empire was very angry about the assassination of his old friend. He asked the Imperial military and intelligence departments to stop intelligence activities and military preparations against Nicholas, and ordered them to focus more on hunting down independent miners organizations such as the Galactic Freedom Army. So the old foxes in the military and intelligence departments began to get busy again and redeployed. First, they replaced many actions against Nicholas with the name of suppressing the miners. In addition, the 3rd Fleet was put into combat readiness in advance on the grounds that aliens on the border planet were causing chaos and the situation was tense, and would be sent to the border area soon, mainly for training. Von Klausch was recalled this time, first to participate in the redeployment of the military. Old Marshal von Bismarck was very satisfied with his son's ability. In addition, he used to be the acting commander of the 3rd Fleet, and this time he came back to report on his work and become a regular commander. "General, I was rescued by 2 S-class mecha masters in the finals. This was your arrangement, right?" Xia Xingchen asked. "I don't have that much face to invite 2 S-class mecha masters at once. But Admiral von Riedel was indeed invited by me. He is my 6th uncle. As for Knight Bell, I think he was worried about his students, and they happened to meet. But although the last move of the 2 of you is very powerful, any one of these 2 can separate you 2. This is the difference in strength. I know. Thank you for your rescue, General. General, I request to return to the team immediately after I recover from my injury and go to the front line with the 3rd Fleet," Xia Xingchen said sincerely. "No need. The 3rd Fleet's main purpose of going to the border planet is to train logistics support and large-scale joint operations. The mecha unit has almost nothing to do. You should stay in the academy. I found that you have made great progress in the past few months, especially with the guidance of Kinren and the old man. Your martial arts have improved rapidly. You should finish all your studies first," Von Klausch said. "Yes, General. In addition, your roommates are very outstanding. The mecha repair shop you set up together is already very influential. They are all powerful helpers in your future. You have to find a way to manage it well. In addition, remember that what we need is an experienced and capable general, not just a powerful mecha division. This is the purpose of your study here," General von Klausch reminded. "I know what to do." When General von Klausch was about to leave, he suddenly remembered something. He turned back and said to Xia Xingchen, "In addition, your performance in this mecha competition has greatly hit the arrogance of the Northern Administrative Region. You also killed Rugani and Pantsev and completely crushed their plan to snatch talents from the military academy. The military has decided to commend you. The reward is very generous. When you recover from your injury, there will be a surprise." After von Klausch left, another guest came to visit, and the arrival of this guest was very unexpected to Xia Xingchen. "Hello Xia Xingchen, I'm Luo Wei. I'm here to apologize and thank you," Luo Wei said, and bowed deeply to Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen looked at the bruised young man, and didn't know what to say. He was a little confused. "I'm sorry for using an S-class mecha weapon on you during the game, and I was aiming at your cockpit. Damn it, I was crazy at the time. Thank you for waking me up. If I had succeeded at the time, my life would have been over. Now I know I was wrong, and I want to apologize to you," Luo Wei said sincerely. "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's good to admit your mistakes and correct them. Besides, I wasn't hurt by you. I forgive you." Xia Xingchen was very generous. "Xia Xingchen, thank you. I know that all my bad habits are caused by being spoiled in my family, so I want to leave here and go to the front line to hone myself. If we are destined to fight side by side in the future." Xia Xingchen nodded. The 2 people held hands tightly. Chapter 130 to competition prizes. 5 days later, Xia Xingchen was finally allowed to leave the hospital and return to school. Good news came one after another. First, the prize money from the competition was credited. Xia Xingchen won the mecha design competition and the mecha maintenance competition, earning a total of 40 million star coins. Then the mecha design drawings were sold to Tang Dynasty Group, earning another 10 billion star coins. And finally, he participated in the mecha fighting competition. Since the mechas in the competition are all damaged, the contestants have high winning bonuses from the top 128, and even if they lose, there will be a certain amount of cash compensation. Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng made it all the way to the finals, and won the championship, and each of them accumulated a prize of 210 million star coins. In addition, the three of them won the team championship and a bonus of 100 million star coins. Xia Xingchen got 40 million star coins. However, after deducting the more than 800 million star coins for building the mecha and the cost of repairing the mecha, there is not much left from the more than 1.2 billion star coins. Xia Xingchen smiled bitterly and said that it seems that he still has to work hard to make money. Although Han said that the cost of making mechas would be paid by the store, Xia Xingchen always thought it was inappropriate. Afterwards, Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng came to the principal's office and were received by the main school leaders and the head of the military system in the military academy. In recognition of their outstanding performance, they were both promoted. Xia Xingchen was promoted from the rank of lieutenant to the rank of captain, and Hao Cheng was promoted from private to sergeant. Another good news is that, after watching the video of the two's game, the 10 examiners of the Mecha Master Level Assessment Committee unanimously determined that Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng had far exceeded the entry level of SEAL level Mecha Masters, so the committee granted them the qualification of SEAL level Mecha Masters. This was a very happy thing for the two, because they had originally planned to participate in the Mecha Master Assessment soon. However, the SEAL level assessment is more difficult, and it will take more than half a month, and it will cost a lot of examination fees. It is really a surprise to know this news now. The next day, the two took a magnetic levitation aircraft together and came to another continent of Xia Star. This continent is the commercial and financial center of Xia Star. All the famous interstellar consortiums in the universe have their headquarters and offices here, so that they can easily transmit information about the policies of the Galactic Empire back to the headquarters of the consortium at any time. They came to a skyscraper that was as tall as the clouds. This was the Tang Dynasty Group's office on Xia Star, and it was also one of the tallest buildings in this commercial district. A man in his 40s was already waiting here. Hello, I'm Tang Jing, the person in charge of the Tang Dynasty Group on Xia Star and the representative of the Tang Dynasty Group on the military side. I'll take you to choose the prizes for this mecha competition. Please follow me. Xia Xingchen and the others followed Tang Jing and took the high-speed elevator directly to an office on the top floor, where there was a large optical computer. Tang Jing operated the optical computer for a while and then handed two readers to the two people respectively. I have connected to the group's database. There are thousands of A-class mecha weapons here. You can choose one of them as the prize for winning the Xia Star mecha fighting competition. This reader has detailed information and demonstration videos of each weapon. After you choose, click submit. We will transport the mecha weapons you choose from Chang'an Star region within a month. Tang Jing explained. The two sat on the sofa to make their choices. What they didn't know was that the champion prizes of the Xia Star Military Academy mecha fighting competition in previous years were only selected from the B-class mecha weapon library, but this year's situation is a little different. In addition to showing great potential, these two young players also crushed Nicholas's plan. Therefore, after consultation, the military and Tang Dynasty Group decided to allow the two to choose mecha weapons from the A-class mecha weapon library. Li Xiaomin and Li Xiaoru, brother and sister, even softly and hard. The members of the Li family all have a great interest in mechas, and they have some private collections in their mecha weapon library. There is a mystery in Xia Xingchen's reader. The weapon library in it has many more weapons than those given to Hao Cheng. Xia Xingchen studied the weapons one by one. Each of these weapons has its own characteristics. The mecha weapons that can be classified as A-level have their own advantages. The main consideration for the weapon he wants to choose is the power of the weapon. In the match with Hao Cheng, he felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Facing the impenetrable defense of the Monkey King's mecha, Xia Xingchen was helpless. He could not penetrate the opponent's defense at all, and could only fight with the opponent in the end. Xia Xingchen selected 7 or 8 relatively good ones, and planned to conduct another round of screening, after reading them all. At this time, a weapon with a unique shape came into view. In the text of the weapon introduction, someone added a note by handwriting. "This is my second brother's collection, a quasi S-level weapon, special attention." Xia Xingchen knew it was a message from Li Xiaomin as soon as he saw the handwriting. At the end of the introduction, he also saw a stamen mark, and a big emphasis number was put on this weapon. Xia Xingchen knew that this was Li Qiru's mark, and each of her works would leave this special mark. This is a red long-range attack weapon named Liuho Mecha Rifle, 3.6 meters long. It is much longer than the ordinary mecha laser rifle, and it is also a little wider and thicker. Its scientific name is Multi-Purpose Portable Intelligent Plasma Cannon. Plasma cannon is a subspecies of neutral particle cannon, also known as plasma cannon. The energy in the energy block releases a large amount of plasma through a special energy medium, and through technical means, it is emitted in a straight line. Plasma is the fourth form of matter after solid, liquid and gas. Since the temperature of plasma itself can reach millions to tens of millions of degrees, any substance will be instantly evaporated in front of it, so its destructive power is quite amazing. The current strongest laser is less than 1/5 of the power of plasma cannon. However, the manufacturing process of plasma cannon is very complicated, especially its miniaturization, the requirements for materials, the selection of energy media, etc. are very demanding, and plasma cannons that can be used on mechas are still very rare. Now the common plasma cannon applications are the main guns of those large space battleships. They have enough space to accommodate huge equipment, which reduces the requirements for plasma cannon materials. Apart from the plasma cannon itself, this Liuho is also an excellent mecha laser rifle. It can release orange-yellow lasers, which is a powerful laser wavelength. And it has multiple shooting mode options such as sniping and bursting, and can even fire 4 lasers at the same time. The gun body material of Liuho is a very rare natural alloy in the universe. It is resistant to high temperatures, and has super high strength. Even if it is directly hit by lasers and plasma cannons, it cannot be damaged. Its energy storage device, 2 bucket-sized super batteries, each of which has an energy storage capacity that even exceeds the energy storage capacity of the entire Dragon Rider War General Mecha, and the core device of the rifle is a fire core, which is said to be an energy crystal in the body of a huge non-carbon based creature. The entire Liuho Mecha rifle emits plasma and lasers, and the energy is released through this fire core. What's more clever is that this mecha rifle also has a mental force sensing system and several miniature thrusters, which can be used away from the mecha mother body, like the unexpected sneak attack of the Dragon Rider system, and can also automatically fly to a safe position when the mecha is in close combat to prevent damage. Chapter 133 The Princess and the Knight. Watching the demonstration video, a fiery red mech frequently fired in combat, sometimes sniping from a distance, and sometimes firing in rapid succession, to form a dense firepower network. What was even more exciting was that it used a plasma cannon to attack a heavy space cruiser from a few kilometers away. The hot plasma penetrated the armor of the cruiser and hit the power unit, and the entire cruiser turned into a sea of fire in the explosion. That's it. Xia Xingchen decisively clicked the confirmation button. Later, Xia Xingchen learned that when this Liuho Mech rifle was originally rated, hundreds of experts had a heated debate over it. Some people believed that it had reached the standard of S-level weapons in terms of power and applicability, while another group of experts believed that his design was too simple, and that it was a little bit less powerful than other S-level mech weapons. So it was rated as an A-level mech weapon, but the notes stated that it was a quasi S-level mech weapon. Hao Cheng chose a mech flight assist device. It is 4 meters long, 1.8 meters high, and 3.5 meters wide. It looks like a thickened surfboard, with 4 pairs of foldable wings, 7 or 8 white light thrusters, and 4 mecha laser cannons on it. The mecha can stand on it, and rely on it to assist in flying. The uniqueness of the auxiliary device selected by Hao Cheng is that it is equipped with a remote mental control module. The mecha flight auxiliary device can fly and attack freely within 1 kilometer of the mecha under the control of the mecha master. and with the help of the preset program, the Mecha flight auxiliary device can also return to the base and mothership to recharge on its own. Hao Cheng wanted to choose a weapon that can attack remotely because the Monkey King Mecha is not very good at flying and has no means of remote attack, so it sometimes suffers from those long-range attack opponents. However, although there are many long-range attack weapons, the Monkey King Mecha is too limited, and there is no interface and space to install these weapons, which makes Hao Cheng very depressed. At this time, the appearance of this flight auxiliary device made him bright. The Monkey King Mecha is not good at flying, but if this device is used, the Mecha can reach a maximum speed of 35 when standing on it, and the laser cannon on the Mecha is better than nothing. After weighing the pros and cons for a long time, Hao Cheng also made a choice. He named this Mecha flight assistance device Somersault Cloud. The Monkey King Mecha got its name from a myth and legend on ancient Earth, a monkey that could go to heaven and earth and do everything. And this monkey has a somersault cloud, which can fly 108,000 miles with a somersault. It is very appropriate to give such a name to the flight assistance device. The two left the office of Tang Dynasty Group and returned to school. At this point, all the rewards for the Mecha competition have been distributed. There will be a small ceremony soon, and this year's Mecha competition will come to an end. A few days later, Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng were notified that both of them had obtained the qualifications to become the princess's guardian knights. Soon they will be received by the princess and have the opportunity to be loyal to a princess. This is an ancient activity which originated from a princess named Qinaying in the royal family hundreds of years ago. At that time, the Milky Way was in constant war, and several princes of the Qin family died in battle. At that time, Princess Qinaying personally went to the military academy to select and recruit a group of young Mecha divisions to obtain their loyalty. Princess Qinaying promised to choose a knight from them as a partner in the future. Later, when the Qin family was in danger, Princess Qinaying led her guardian knights to attack frequently, defeated many enemies, and made great contributions to the unification of the Galactic Empire. And Princess Qinaying also fulfilled her promise and married one of her guardian knights. This incident became a good story in the Galactic Empire and later became a tradition. Every year, the princesses of the Qin family would come to personally meet the winners of various competitions in the military academy and have dinner with them. Although many princesses did not fulfill their promises due to political marriages and other reasons, dozens of princesses still married their guardian knights. Therefore, this is also an important reason why Lo wanted to win the Mecha fighting competition championship very much, so that he could legitimately pledge allegiance to Princess Xingchen and even propose to her. The weekend is here. A luxurious maglev car came to Xia Xingchen's dormitory area early in the morning, picked up Xia Xingchen, and went to the palace. Xia Xingchen was wearing a brand new officer's dress today. He imagined what the princess would look like. Although the princess of the royal family also appeared in TV reports from time to time, Xia Xingchen was not very concerned about this matter. The car passed through many sentries and finally drove into the palace area covering hundreds of square kilometers. There were a large number of guards in the entire palace area, and there were mechas patrolling everywhere. After driving for dozens of minutes, the car stopped at the door of a very elegant small villa. There was also a very beautiful white mecha parked in the yard of the villa. Xia Xingchen felt a little familiar, as if he had seen this mecha somewhere. Anyway, he could be sure that it was Li Qiru's work. The levitation car slowly stopped. Xia Xingchen walked out of the car door, and a car following behind him also stopped, and Hao Cheng got out of the car. He was only wearing an ordinary student military uniform. At this time, the door of the villa opened, and two beautiful figures appeared in front of the two. This is the Star Princess and Moon Princess of the Empire, the dream lovers of countless young people. When Xia Xingchen saw the Star Princess, he could no longer remain calm. It turned out that the person in front of him was Qin Ruya, who came to the 1524 club to customize a private mecha a month ago. Captain Xia, Sergeant Hao, hello, I'm Qin Feinger, and I'm honored. Princess, you said, performing a court etiquette. I'm Qin Ruya. Master Xia Xingchen, we meet again. Qin Ruya blinked at Xia Xingchen and saluted. The two hurriedly returned the princesses with a military salute. Chapter 134. Two princesses. The so-called banquet in the palace did not leave a very good impression. Although the dishes were very exquisite, the portions were too small, and there were many etiquette requirements. In short, the two of them did not enjoy the meal very much. Xia Xingchen was better. Before coming, Daren helped him to cram for a meal of palace etiquette and told him some precautions, including the issue of eating, so he ate a full meal in the dormitory before leaving. Hao Cheng was miserable. He himself was a martial artist and had a big appetite. Since he had been practicing hard since he was a child, he had no idea about these rules in the palace. He practiced hard on the training ground early this morning, then came back to pack up and came to the palace. He sat in the car for several hours and was now starving. The scene on the dining table almost made him faint. A plate of exquisite dishes that looked like works of art, and the portions were so small that he could eat them in one bite. The palace waiter in charge of serving food brought over 20 plates of small dishes. Hao Cheng thought it was just an appetizer at first, but later found out that something was wrong. The two princesses and Xia Xingchen stopped eating after a few bites. Hao Cheng was a little stunned. He didn't know what happened, so he also stopped. Princess Crossing clapped her hands when she saw this, and immediately a servant came to take away all the remaining dishes. At this time, Hao Cheng was completely dumbfounded. He wanted to cry, but had no tears. Moreover, this was the palace, and he couldn't ask the waiter to serve the food again, so he had to bear it painfully. Xia Xingchen seemed to have discovered something, so she took the opportunity to go to the bathroom and handed Hao Cheng 2 pieces of military high-energy compressed dry food. Hurry up and eat. This is your first time in the palace. You have no experience. You must be starving. Hao Cheng nodded gratefully, and tears were about to fall. The two were taken to the reception room by the waiter, and the 2 princesses were already waiting here. Various drinks were already prepared on the table, and the 4 people began to chat. The topics were nothing more than interesting things in school, mecha fighting competitions, etc. Xia Xingchen and Hao Chengdu were not very good at speaking. Fortunately, Princess Yukinfenger always controlled the rhythm of the conversation, and with the lively Kinrua, the scene did not become dull. An hour passed, and it seemed that all the topics that could be discussed between the 4 people had been discussed. At this time, the princess should show her cards with the knights to see if they are willing to be loyal. As an older sister, Princess Yu always gave in to her younger sister. She signaled Kinrua to choose first. Princess Crossing stood up and said, "Sister, Lieutenant Xia Xingchen and I are old acquaintances. I have some personal matters to discuss with him alone." Princess Yu gracefully made a pleased gesture. Kinrua and Xia Xingchen left. At this time, only Hao Cheng and Princess Kinfenger were left. Hao Cheng felt very embarrassed at this time. In his 21 years of life, this was the first time he was alone with a girl of the same age. He would rather face a ferocious alien bug alone with bare hands than face such a beautiful woman. Seeing his appearance, Kinfenger burst out laughing. It was the first time she had seen such an interesting man. As a princess, all the men of the same age she had met tried their best to appear confident, powerful, or elegant in front of her. Only the man in front of her was nervous, uneasy, and even dared not look her in the eye. Princess Yu immediately became interested in him. "Sergeant Hao Cheng, are you willing to be my guardian knight?" Princess Yu asked. "I don't know. What does a guardian knight do?" Hao Cheng asked stupidly. "Well, to put it simply, it means being loyal to me and the royal family. Protect me when I'm in danger and help me eliminate the enemy. In return, I will provide the knights with all kinds of honors and help. The most important point is that my future husband may be chosen from my guardian knights." Kinfenger explained. "I'm sorry, princess, I can't be loyal to you. I'm from the Holy Temple. The purpose of our holy temple is to protect all mankind, and we cannot participate in any disputes between human forces. I can't be your knight, which is inconsistent with my beliefs." "Then, do you have the heart to refuse the princess's request?" Kinfenger looked very aggrieved. Hao Cheng had never seen such a situation before. He saw that the princess was about to cry, and he was a little panicked. "Well, let's put it this way, I can't be loyal to you, but if you need it, I can help you, like a friend," Hao Cheng said sincerely. Looking at his pure eyes, Princess Yu was a little stunned. "Friend? Well, we are good friends from now on." The small villa has 3 floors, and the top floor is a small platform. Standing on the platform, feeling the breeze, you can see the beautiful scenery of the whole manor. Kinruya lay on the railing, looking at the scenery in the distance. Xia Xingchen stood beside her, holding the railing, and looking at him. Xingchen, you are from Manastar, right? Princess Crossing asked. Xia Xingchen nodded. What is your impression of it? A nightmare, just like a nightmare. Princess, I was a miner before I was 15 years old. My father and I struggled for survival every day. My father was a miner, and later he was disabled in an accident. In order to make a living, I had to work in the mine to support my family. Under the mine of Manastar, there are landslides, man-eating beasts, cruel star pirates in space, and cruel rulers on the ground. It is hell. I'm very glad that I escaped from there. Xia Xingchen narrated. It was not a comfortable memory. Then do you know what Manastar looks like in my impression? Xia Xingchen shook his head. Princess Crossing continued. In my impression, there is only one person on Manastar, a friend who shares life and death with me. When I was a child, I was locked up in this manor every day, learning all kinds of etiquette, art, and literature. I didn't have any playmates, and there were guards everywhere at school. At that time, I liked to stay here quietly by myself, watching the birds fly freely. Later, my father wanted to assign a marriage for me, and ask me to marry a man who was more than 10 years older than me. I didn't want to, so I secretly ran out of the palace, and escaped from Xia Star. I began to wander around the Milky Way. Later, the passenger spaceship I was riding was hijacked by space pirates when it passed Manastar. Fortunately, I had the most advanced camouflage device at the time, so I was not ruined by the space pirates. Later, I was imprisoned in a secret base by the space pirates, where there were many people of my age. I was very anxious at the time, because the camouflage device was not omnipotent, and the energy was almost used up. Just when I was about to despair, I met a teenager with psychic power. We stole the key and a mecha, and escaped from there. You are a he. Xia Xingchen was stunned. Chapter 135. After the game. Xia Xingchen never dreamed that the skinny, and quirky Ahi who escaped from the clutches of the Black Fox base with him that year turned out to be the delicate star princess of the Galactic Empire in front of him. Are you Ahi? Xia Xingchen asked. Kinjana nodded. Where did you go later? After waking up, I looked for you everywhere, but there was no news. We were later rescued by the Manastar fleet. If it weren't for my identity at the time, we would have been destroyed. Then the royal guards came to Manastar and took me away by force. Later, I returned to Xia Star. My father was very worried about me. He immediately ordered that I would no longer be forced to marry someone else. I have the right to freely choose my future partner. That's great. Xia Xingchen was sincerely happy for her. Xia Xingchen, are you willing to be my guardian knight, be loyal to me, and protect me? Then, she blushed and whispered, I can let you be my only knight. Xia Xingchen was silent. He could fully understand the meaning of the princess words, but, I'm sorry, Princess Jaina, I can't be your knight. It's not that I don't want to, but I can't, at least, not now. Xia Xingchen refused. Why, do you hate me, Xingchen? The princess' eyes were wet, and she was about to cry. Princess Jaina, let me tell you a story about a queen and his knight. Xia Xingchen told Kinjana how he left Manastar and the little things between him and Freya. After listening to Xia Xingchen's story, Kinjana burst into tears. She was deeply moved by their love story. Sister Freya is so pitiful, but she is also very happy. There is such a person who loves her. Kinjana sobbed and said, so, Princess Kinjana, I still have to avenge Freya and my dead comrades, so I can't be your guardian knight. At least not now. I understand, Xia Xingchen, I won't hold you back. Go do what you should do. If you need help, count me in. If one day you have avenged yourself, please remember to come to me. My only position as a guardian knight is reserved for you. Princess Crossing looked at Xia Xingchen with affection. I understand, Princess Kinjana, thank you. Don't call me princess, just call me Jaina. Although you are not my guardian knight now, we are good friends who have shared hardships. Princess Crossing said. Okay, Jaina. The two princesses personally sent Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng out of the manor and watched them get on the high-end maglev car. Sister, did Sergeant Hao Cheng agree to be your guardian knight? Qin Jaina asked curiously. No, he refused. But he did have a reason to refuse. He is an interesting person. Qin Fengja showed a trace of helplessness in her eyes. Oh, that's really his loss. I never thought someone would reject my sister. In the history of the entire galactic empire, knights who rejected princesses are rare. It doesn't matter. I lost a knight, but I gained a good friend. Sister, how are you? Qin Fengja asked. Sister, it's the same as you. Xingchen and I are good friends. The two sisters looked at each other and smiled knowingly. The Xia Neo and Star Mecha fighting competition is over. For the students of the two military academies, this is a very important time node because they are about to usher in the final exams in the second half of this year. For those students with good grades, this is a festival which can end many courses and free up time to learn other things. And for those guys who don't study hard, this is Good Friday, which means they have one less chance to pass the exam before graduation. These days, the business of the mecha repair shop is a little quieter because most students are putting all their energy into coping with the upcoming exams. Li Xiaomin and his sister Ellie come to the store recently. They are preparing for the exams with all their strength. Only Xia Xingchen and Feng Grandet are still busy all day. Soon, all the parts for more than 100 dragon riders will arrive. Xia Xingchen has to assemble the Mechas and repair the Monkey King's mecha and his own dragon rider's mecha. Grandet is busy opening up and renovating the several shops next to the newly acquired store. He wants to build a brand new 1524 mecha club. As for academic studies, Von Grandet firmly believes that time is star coins. Even if academic qualifications are no longer needed in the future, the great opportunity to make money and develop cannot be missed. In the face of official positions and money, the people of the Grandet family only choose the latter. After the mecha fighting competition, the 1524 mecha club's mecha customization orders were overwhelming, so Von Grandet required customers to pay the full amount first, which did not affect the enthusiasm of mecha enthusiasts at all. Hans Grandet has a lot of cash in his hands. Grandet used the money to purchase a large number of advanced maintenance equipment, including a material factory system worth more than 10 billion star coins. With it, many materials and accessories do not need to be customized by the manufacturer, which can save a lot of money and time. The busy exam season finally arrived, and Xia Xingchen passed the final exams for 60% of the subjects at one time. In this way, he can have more time to do other things. Every 2 weeks, the two princesses would invite Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng to dinner, of course not in the palace, but in the commercial street. The princess invited her guardian knight to dinner, which was allowed by the empire, but as for whether the two were loyal, no one would be bored enough to check this matter. Hao Cheng was very happy because he could finally ignore the ridiculous court etiquette. There was only 1 week left for the final exams of various courses. Xia Xingchen had finished his exams and came to the store. At this time, the accessories of the Dragon Rider, the accessories of the Monkey King mecha, and the customized mecha accessories were all in place. He began to get busy again. In order to improve efficiency, Hans Grandet temporarily recruited 10 students with intermediate mecha maintenance technician qualifications to participate in the assembly of the mecha. He divided the mecha maintenance technicians into several groups to carry out small assembly line operations, and the most complex and time-consuming work was completed by Xia Xingchen himself. This ensures that they can produce 10 to 15 mechas per day. Finally, after more than 10 days of hard work, all the orders have been completed. Hans did some calculations. Based on the average sales of 2 billion star coins per mecha, after deducting costs and taxes, each mecha can bring in about 600 million star coins in revenue, and 150 orders will bring in 90 billion in revenue. In the past few months, the 1524 Mecha Club has expanded rapidly, purchased a lot of shops and equipment, and spent nearly 30 billion on participating in competitions, and still had a surplus of 60 billion star coins. If other income from the shops is added, Xia Xingchen alone has received a dividend of 20 billion star coins in the past 6 months. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Holiday Arrangements. Comparing with the blueprint of the monk mecha, Xia Xingchen disassembled Hao Cheng's Monkey King mecha into a pile of parts. Hao Cheng, who was standing next to him, was horrified. He even suspected that Xia Xingchen was deliberately taking revenge. Xia Xingchen frowned on the side. He was finally done with the work at hand, and the spare parts arrived, so he began to repair the two mechas. Hao Cheng's relationship with Xia Xingchen quickly heated up after the mecha fighting competition. The two often practiced martial arts and sparred together, and often went to the princess's dinner together. When Hao Cheng was free, he often came to the mecha repair shop to help out and learn about mecha repair and maintenance. Brother Hao Cheng, how often do you maintain your mecha? Xia Xingchen asked. Ordinary mechas should be repaired, inspected, and maintained every 200 hours of work. Of course, this varies from mecha to mecha. There are also many local tyrants who maintain their mechas every few dozen hours. This Hao Cheng's face turned red again. It's been about 800 hours since the last maintenance. He was embarrassed. Xingchen, you know, we monks don't have much money. And I'm in school now, and don't have time to do bounty missions. My Monkey King mecha, ordinary mecha repair shops can't repair it, and the shops that can repair it are asking for a lot of money. It costs me 10 million star coins for one maintenance. Hao Cheng was helpless. It was really a hero who was penny pinching. Your mecha was seriously damaged this time, but nearly 10% of the parts don't need to be replaced if they are properly maintained. If you don't pay attention to protection, the mecha may work for another 1 or 200 hours, and it will be paralyzed without the opponent attacking. For mecha masters, the maintenance of mecha is a matter of life and death. And it can't be sloppy. Xia Xingchen said seriously. I know, Xingchen, thank you. But it's not a solution to always do this. How about this? Your mecha will be displayed in the store anyway. Leave the maintenance to me, and I will do it for you for free. At the same time, you also follow along and learn the simplest maintenance techniques, which will be life-saving techniques on the battlefield in the future. In addition, I will help you modify the vulnerable parts of your mecha and give you a new maintenance design drawing. You just need to follow the drawing when you need maintenance in other repair shops in the future. Xia Xingchen proposed a plan, and Hao Cheng was very grateful. Another half a month passed, and the Monkey King mecha and the Dragon Rider Warlord mecha were both repaired. At this time, their prizes, 2 A-level mecha weapons were also delivered. In order to match the two cool mecha weapons, Xia specially designed a new mecha paint for the two. The Monkey King mecha was painted golden, while the Dragon Rider Warlord mecha was painted white, and the Dragon Rider system behind it was painted red. When the two mechas appeared at the exhibition hall of the newly completed 1524 Mecha Club at the same time, the entire exhibition hall was crowded, and Hans received orders for more than a dozen Dragon Rider Warlord mechas, and even received orders for 5 Monkey King mechas. From then on, people came to the store to visit the two mechas every day. The holiday has finally arrived, and it is a day that countless students have been looking forward to. The holidays of the two military academies on Xianyu and Star are different from those of other schools, and there is no distinction between winter and summer vacations. This is because the Milky Way is too large, and there are many students whose families are in other administrative districts. It takes nearly 2 months to go back and forth. Therefore, the Imperial Military Command Academy only has one holiday, which is arranged at the beginning of each year and lasts for more than 4 months. Many students use this time to go home to visit their families, and many use this time to work and earn money, but more students use this time to participate in training, such as joining various adventure groups and bounty hunter teams. Here, they can fully display their personal knowledge and get a lot of rewards. In the luxurious private room of the best hotel in the business district of Xianyu and Star, the 5 shareholders of the 1524 Mecha Club are having their last party before the holiday. Originally, they only had 4 shareholders. Later, after the mecha designed by Xia sold well, Hans took the initiative to change the equity distribution ratio, and he took the initiative to reduce his share. Now Hans holds 30%, Xia Xingchen holds 30%, Li Xiaomin and his sister each hold 15%, and Aren holds 10%. Hans Granda deposited everyone's dividends into their accounts, and now everyone has made a lot of money. Looking back to half a year ago, we haggled with Boss Hus for tens of millions of acquisition costs, but in just half a year, each of us is a millionaire. Thank you for everyone's efforts. I propose a toast to our success. Hans raised his glass. Cheers. The holiday is coming. What are everyone's plans? Aren asked. As for me, I have completely left that home. I will stay in the store during the holiday and think about expanding the scale. Hans said seriously. My parents just came, so we won't go back during the holidays. We plan to help out in the store and continue to improve our hands-on skills. Li Xiaomin said. I will continue to improve the school's internal intelligence network during the holidays. Our intelligence work this semester has been very effective. We have to work harder next semester. The day when Nicholas will launch a rebellion is not far away. Aren was a little worried. Xingchen, what about you? What are your plans? I want to go out with Hao Cheng to gain some experience, join an adventure group, or become a bounty hunter or something. But I'm not sure about the store. Xia Xingchen said. It's okay, Xingchen, go ahead, you've paid too much for the store. It's time to go out and have a rest. Now that we have money, I plan to recruit 4 senior mecha repairmen and 8 intermediate mecha repairmen, and open 2 branches in Xia Star. You are still the technical director, and you can take action whenever they can't. Hans' words made Xia Xingchen feel at ease. So Xingchen, do you plan to work with others, or do you plan to form an adventure group yourself? Aren asked. At first I planned to join someone else's team, but that would not give me much time. Besides, in a team I don't trust, I wouldn't know if I was sold out by others. Now that I have money, I plan to buy a small spaceship and form my own mercenary team. But I don't know where to recruit members, or how to buy a spaceship. I need your help. Xia Xingchen said. Buying a spaceship is no problem. Our Tang Dynasty group has various spaceships. How about the Far Traveler Type 5? It is most suitable for small groups to travel in space. I'll give you a cost price. 6 billion star coins will be enough. Li Xiaomin became interested when he mentioned the spaceship. Aren shook his head. I have a better suggestion. If you buy a small civilian spaceship directly, you have to make some modifications, which is not cheap at all. You also have to go through various procedures and register, which is very troublesome and time consuming. There are many second generation rich people on our Xia Star, and many of them play with spaceships. These people are very fond of new things and often sell spaceships that have been modified at great cost at a bargain price. Moreover, this spaceship is very new and has all the necessary documents. I suggest that you buy such a spaceship directly, which is both cost effective and time saving. Great, let's do it. Xia Xingchen made a decision. Chapter 137 Black Hole Mercenaries. 2 days later, after helping Hans interview the newly recruited mecha maintenance technicians, Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng came to the administrative service area of Xia Star and registered at the Mercenary Management Center. In order to facilitate the management of interstellar adventurers and bounty hunters, the Galactic Empire implemented a registration system for them. These groups must register and become mercenary groups before they can accept tasks and receive corresponding rewards. Mercenary groups can be divided into 6 levels according to their levels: S, A, B, C, D, and E. The lowest level is E level, which requires at least 2 members, a mecha, and a deposit of 5 million star coins to be established. Soon, after submitting their personal information and mecha information, they paid the deposit and their mercenary group was established. The name was given by Hao Cheng, because Xia Xingchen was most reluctant to do the naming thing. The mercenary group was named Black Hole Mercenary Group. In Hao Cheng's simple idea, black holes are the most powerful celestial bodies in the universe, and the leader of the mercenary group is naturally Xia Xingchen. Hao Cheng said that he was only suitable to be a mecha division and charge into battle, and other things should be left to Xia Xingchen. The next thing is to buy a spaceship. In order to buy a spaceship, Hans and Aren contacted Xiao Tangjin. After all, among the second-generation descendants of Xia Xingchen, the son of the deputy finance minister is still very appealing. Hearing that Xia Xingchen was going to buy a spaceship, Xia Xingchen patted his chest and said that the matter was handed over to him. A day later, the news came that Xia Xingchen, the son of the Minister of Equipment of the Galactic Empire Army, was going to sell a small high-speed spaceship in his hands. His offer was 12 billion star coins, which was very cost-effective. Riding on the private space shuttle of Tangen's family, Xia Xingchen, Hao Cheng, Dai Ren, and Li Xiaoman flew to the Canal Space Station with Xia Xingchen. They will meet with Xia Xingchen here and inspect the specific conditions of the spaceship on the spot. More than 10 hours later, the space shuttle landed on a private space dock, where a small spaceship was docked, but the exterior was sprayed with colorful colors, and it was the same style as Xia Xingchen. There were a few big words written under the cockpit. Invincible Marshal Moltke. Everyone couldn't help laughing when they saw it. Little Moltke was an admirer of Xia Xingchen, and he was also a senior member of the 1524 Mecha Club. He was ecstatic about the arrival of his idol, shaking hands and taking photos. He also immediately said that, if Xia Xingchen wanted to buy this spaceship, he would only charge 10 billion star coins, and it could be paid in installments. Under the leadership of Little Moltke, everyone boarded the invincible Marshal Moltke. This spaceship is 96 meters long, 20 meters wide, and 18 meters high. It looks like a cigar with 4 cigarettes tied to the end. There are 3 pairs of foldable wings on the hull, which can enable the spaceship to fly inside the atmosphere. There are 4 large white light thrusters and 4 large particle thrusters at the tail of the spaceship. The maximum speed is twice that of an ordinary Far Traveler V spaceship, and this spaceship can also perform interstellar jump flight. In terms of the weapons and equipment of the spaceship, the ship is equipped with military-grade detection radar, heat source detector, optical image detector and fire control radar. There is a laser cannon at the front end of each of the 4 thrusters at the rear of the spacecraft, and there are 8 quadruple small rapid-fire laser cannons in various parts of the hull. The main guns of the spacecraft are 2 heavy laser cannons and an electromagnetic railgun. There are 6 mecha bays on the spacecraft, which can accommodate a squad of mechas and an engineering mecha. In addition, the spacecraft also has a large cargo hold that can hold a large amount of supplies, giving the spacecraft excellent endurance. The maximum passenger capacity of the spacecraft is 16 people. The cockpit can accommodate 5 people. The power system of this spacecraft is a large controlled nuclear fusion engine, and the armor has been replaced, and the hull is also equipped with a light energy shield system. Master Xia, this small spaceship of mine is modified from a small high-speed reconnaissance ship of the Streamer class that is still in service, said Little Moltke proudly. The modification includes the modification of the thrusters, which directly increases the speed of the mecha by 20%. The armor is replaced with stronger and lighter armor, which increases the strength by 80% and reduces the total weight of the ship by 15%. In terms of weapons, the original 8 ordinary small rapid-fire laser cannons are replaced with 4 mounted rapid-fire laser cannons, which increases the short-range air defense firepower by 4 times. A powerful electromagnetic railgun is also installed. The central computer of the ship is also replaced with the most advanced shipborne central optical computer, so that only one person can drive the spaceship. Xia Xingchen was very satisfied with the introduction of Xia Xingchen. He had read some information about small spaceships yesterday. The factory price of this Streamer-class small high-speed reconnaissance ship was as high as 20 billion star coins. With the cost of modification, it would cost 30 billion star coins. More importantly, this kind of military spaceship is not something you can buy just because you want to, because it is too fast. Once it falls into the hands of star pirates, it is difficult for the military's existing spaceships to catch up, so it is strictly restricted from flowing into the civilian population. Because of his father's relationship, Maoki bought this spaceship, and there were no problems with the procedures. Xia Xingchen expressed his satisfaction on the spot and paid the full amount. Then several people went to the civilian spaceship management office at the space station to handle the spaceship transfer procedures. Since these people are very powerful, the transfer procedures were completed in less than an hour. Then the spaceship was driven to the private dock of the Tang Dynasty Group. where there are still many vacant berths. The staff of the Tang Dynasty group will conduct a thorough inspection and maintenance of the spaceship. This new spaceship is called Black Hole Number 1. Zhang Yingying was in annoyance and anxiety at this moment. She was about to turn 18, and she wanted to go crazy before her coming of age ceremony. If she didn't go crazy, she would get old. This talented girl, the little princess of the First Fleet, gave people the impression of being a good girl, since she was born, obedient, studious, and motivated. But everyone has a rebellious heart. She has suppressed all of this in her heart over the years. Now, she wants to release all of this. The holiday is a good opportunity. She wants to use this opportunity to go out and experience it and make her own way. She has a small spaceship and followers, but she doesn't want to take them with her because that would be meaningless. So she searched for the recruitment information of the mercenary group on the Xia Neo Star Skynet. But it is not easy to find a suitable team. Those large mercenary groups only recruit long-term members, and those small mercenary groups either have too old spaceships or their personnel are not legitimate. As a young and beautiful girl, she would be in danger. After all, killing someone in space and throwing him into space is too common. Chapter 138 Black Hole Mercenary Group. At this time, a piece of information came into view. The Black Hole Mercenary Group has two C-class mecha divisions and a good spaceship. The members are all students of the military academy. This is good. It seems that you can consider it. Thinking of this, Zhang Yingying sent an application email. The personnel recruited by the Black Hole Mercenary Group are mainly the pilots and chief engineers of the spaceship. The pilots of a normal spaceship are generally equipped with 5 people. The captain, who is responsible for issuing orders, commanding battles, and managing the personnel of the entire ship. The main pilot, who is responsible for driving the spaceship. The co-pilot, who assists the main pilot in monitoring the status of the spaceship and serves as the navigator, the fire control system and radar operator, the communication management, and mecha dispatcher. Of course, some small spaceships can have one person holding multiple positions, but those large spaceships are far from enough. The chief engineer assists in the maintenance, upkeep, and damage control of the spaceship. However, the recruitment of personnel for the Black Hole Mercenary Group was not very smooth. Because they were newly established, there were only 2 people, and the mission completion rate was 0. The new team needed to run in, and there was no experience. The mortality rate of joining such a team was extremely high, so those old birds avoided it. 3 days after the message was sent, there were only 2 replies. Xia Xingchen and the 2 applicants met in a private room in the library. The first applicant was a graceful red-haired beauty. Her name was Vivian, and she was 22 years old. She was a student majoring in spaceship driving in the intermediate student class of the Imperial Military Command Academy. Vivian's family had been navigators of spaceships for generations. Vivian had traveled all over the galaxy with her father since she was a child, and the cockpit of the spaceship was her favorite place to stay. Holidays were a very good time to earn tuition fees, but her concerns were the same as Zhang Yingying's. It was very dangerous for a beautiful single girl to join an unfamiliar team alone. Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng were also celebrities in the school, and they could still be trusted. Besides, their strength was indeed good. Xia Xingchen had also recently made up for the knowledge of battleship driving, battleship maintenance, etc. He asked Vivian a few questions, and she answered them fluently. Xia Xingchen was very satisfied and signed a contract with Vivian immediately. He hired Vivian at a cost of 30,000 star coins per day. If the mercenary group has other benefits, Vivian can also participate in the dividends. The second applicant stunned Xia Xingchen. Hao Cheng felt very strange when he saw his reaction, so he asked, "What's wrong?" Zhang Yingying, why is it you? Oh, have you heard of me? One of the 7 school beauties of the Imperial Military Command Academy, the little princess of the First Fleet, who wouldn't know? Xia Xingchen said, and Hao Cheng suddenly realized. I want to join your mercenary group and do missions with you. I don't know if I have the honor. I'm good at combat command. Of course, I'm also good at spaceship driving. I have also driven a heavy space carrier. Zhang Yingying said in a flat tone. At this time, Xia Xingchen's heart was filled with 10,000 cosmic beasts called grass mud horses. This was a naked and calm show of wealth. That classmate Zhang Yingying, our trip may be dangerous, and we are not a big fleet. You see, do you think about it carefully? Xia Xingchen was a little embarrassed. Zhang Yingying was about to cry when she heard it. I'm a girl. What if I join another mercenary group and get abused and my body is thrown into space? I just want to find an opportunity to hone myself. Why is it so difficult? Why do you dislike me so much? Is it just because I'm a girl? Woo. Seeing her like this, Xia Xingchen panicked. That's not what I meant, and I don't dislike you. It's just, oh, don't cry. I promised you. Great, this is what you said. You can't regret it. The little beauty burst into laughter in an instant. Xia Xingchen vaguely felt that he seemed to have been fooled. After recruiting 2 pilots, Xia Xingchen decided to set off first. As for the chief engineer, he decided to take on the role himself after a few days of study. After bidding farewell to several roommates and the 2 princesses, Xia Xingchen, Hao Cheng and the other 4 boarded the space shuttle bound for the Canal Space Station Airport Terminal. The 2 girls were very excited to see the blue-painted spaceship in front of them. They also took a test drive and said that the performance of the spaceship was very good. Of course, it did not continue to use the extremely stupid name before. It was renamed Black Hole Number 1. Everyone came to the spaceship and allocated the cabins. Black Hole Number 1 has a total of 4 cabins, each of which can accommodate 4 crew members. In addition, there is a luxurious captain's room, a kitchen, a dining room, a living room, an entertainment room, a medical room and a small gym. The facilities are very complete, even a little luxurious. In the living room, Xia Xingchen held the first meeting of the Black Hole Mercenary Group. The first thing is to determine everyone's division of labor. Xia Xingchen is the captain, chief engineer, mecha master and mecha repairman. Hao Cheng is a mecha master and chef, who makes this guy have very superb cooking skills. Vivian is the main pilot and navigator. Zhang Yingying is the co-pilot and tactical commander. Then there is the destination of this voyage. Their Black Hole 1 spacecraft will follow a very remote route and head straight to Lauland Star, which is in the northern part of the Western Administrative District and very close to the junction of the Northern Administrative District. There, Black Hole 1 will receive 2 new members. Not long ago, he received a secret email from Jiaozi, and there will be a surprise for him. In the next 2 days, Black Hole 1 made the final preparations before launch. Resupply materials, add nuclear fusion fuel, and most importantly, transport the Dragon Rider War General Mecha and the Monkey King Mecha to Black Hole 1. Finally, everything is ready. Black Hole Number 1, hatch closed, air tightness check completed, engine started, power 20%, all systems normal. Disconnect the fixing device. Engine power increased to 50%. Detection system normal. Fire control system normal. Spacecraft optical computer normal. Communication system normal. Black Hole Number 1, set off. Xia Xingchen gave the order to attack. Chapter 139. First encounter with Star Pirates. The first day of the voyage was very smooth. The space traffic in Xia Star region is very developed. Even some unpopular routes here can see a busy scene, and even encounter space congestion. Xia Xingchen sat in the co-pilot's seat, and Vivian set up the autopilot system, and then taught Xia Xingchen how to operate the spacecraft. He has memorized the instructions, operating guides and space traffic regulations, and what he lacks is practical experience. The space traffic regulations of the Galactic Empire stipulate that people who drive spacecraft must have a primary or above spacecraft driver's license. However, this law is generally enforced in the main star regions of each administrative district. After all, the army is very busy, and the Star Pirates can't manage it, and no one will come to manage unlicensed drivers. They have made a good division of labor, changing people every 8 hours. Xia Xingchen, Vivian and Zhang Yingying take turns to drive the spacecraft. In fact, with the autopilot system, they only need to stay in the cockpit to prevent emergencies. And Hao Cheng has to take care of his kitchen. Fighting on various planets, and eating hard to swallow food every day, he gradually developed a new skill to make any unpalatable food delicious. 3 days later, their spaceship flew out of the Xia Star region. At this time, there were very few spaceships on the route. It was good to see one every few hours. It was also difficult to see cruising warships. After a delicious breakfast, Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng completed their routine physical training in the gym. Then the two came to the cockpit, and everyone was there. Zhang Yingying and Vivian have been inseparable for the past few days, and they have become good friends. Xia Xingchen took out a device and connected it to the main control computer of the spaceship. In a short time, a lot of bounty information and task information issued by surrounding planets appeared on the screen. These tasks are all posted on the mercenary management agencies of various planets. Through this special device, the mercenary group can connect to the local Skynet and obtain task information nearby. These include various tasks such as eliminating star pirates, searching for people, opening up special routes, prospecting, exploring unknown star regions, eliminating alien creatures, and escorting. Different tasks have different rewards and different task requirements. Different tasks have strict requirements on the size, level, and number of spaceships of the mercenary group. There are individuals, the military, and large consortiums that issue these tasks. They first handed over the mission rewards to the Mercenary Management Agency for safekeeping. The Mercenary Management Agency would issue a device to each mercenary group. The mercenary group could upload their mission videos to the Mercenary Management Agency through the Skynet. After confirmation, they could go to the nearest Mercenary Management Agency to collect bonuses and points. The Mercenary Management Agency would extract 15% of it as management fees. The points obtained by the mercenary group could not only be used to upgrade the mercenary group, but also be exchanged for various intelligence, supplies, mechas, etc. at the Mercenary Management Agency. The only job that is suitable for us along the way is to eliminate the star pirates. There are dozens of star pirates of all sizes on this route. Hao Cheng looked at the tasks and said helplessly. He didn't like the job of dealing with star pirates very much, because the Monkey King Mecha had no long-range attack capability and was not good at flying. Every time he blew up one or two star pirates' mechas, he always found tragically that the other party had run away without a trace. Bugs are still good. They will fight you to the end and never run away. He just needs to swing the alloy long stick to kill them on the spot. Let me see the pirates here. Amaterasu, Kami, Black Fox. This Black Fox sounds very familiar. I wonder if it's someone I know. Xia Xingchen muttered. The Black Hole 1 spacecraft continued to move forward. In front of it was a starfield where two planets intersected. There were a large number of asteroids nearby and few people went there. Beep, beep, beep. A series of rapid alarms sounded on the dashboard. Zhang Yingying glanced at the screen and said, a medium-sized space high-speed cruiser was found at the coordinates 37, 89, and 64 ahead. The distance is 10,000 kilometers. It is expected to make contact with the other party in 800 seconds. The other party's destination is on our route. It is very likely that it is a pirate. Hao Cheng and I will go to the Mecha warehouse to wait. Yingying, you will be in full command of Black Hole 1. Xia Xingchen issued an order. Yes, Captain. Increase engine power to 80%. Detection system fully open. Fire control system activated. Weapon system activated. Light armor charging. Zhang Yingying calmly issued orders. Wei Weiyin and Zhang Yingying operated in an orderly manner. Distance 5000. Optical imaging system activated. It is an old Fukushima class medium-sized high-speed cruiser. This type of warship has been discontinued for more than 100 years. The thermal pattern comparison results are out. This is the flagship of the local star pirate organization Amaterasu. The Amaterasu are Mikami. The intelligence of the mercenary union shows that this gang is very brutal and does not leave any survivors. This ship can carry 30 mechas at full load. 30 mechas? Leave it to me, Xia Xingchen said confidently. At a distance of 3000, the other side sent a message on the public channel, asking us to stop the ship for inspection, otherwise they will kill all members. At a distance of 1000, we have entered the maximum range of the ship's guns. The other side's main guns are not charged, and the enemy ship's mecha catapults are open. At a distance of 800, the enemy ship is slowing down. The enemy's mechas are dispatched, with a number of 20, and there are many types, most of which are assembled mechas. Captain, are you going to use mechas or ship guns to solve the problem? Zhang Yingying asked. Hao Cheng and I can go out. I will go first and solve the mechas. When their warships escape, you can open fire. In short, the warship is in your hands. Xia Xingchen gave the order. Understood. The hatches of mechas number 1 and number 2 are opened, and the mechas are ready to go. Zhang Yingying replied. Xia Xingchen, Dragon Rider Mecha, attack. Xia Xingchen shouted, and the mecha thrusters sprayed white light, and the Dragon Rider Mecha flew out of the ship with the flowing fire mecha rifle. Haocheng, Monkey King Mecha, Somersault Cloud Mecha Flight Assistance System attack. Monkey King and Somersault Cloud System flew out one after the other. The two mechas flew to the top of the spaceship, and the Dragon Rider warrior slowly landed. Two mechanical arms stretched out from the top of the spaceship and firmly grasped the legs of the mechas. At this time, a thick cable stretched out from under the mechanical arm and directly plugged into the flowing fire mecha rifle. Xia Xingchen adjusted the rifle to sniper mode and aimed at the direction of the enemy ship. The Monkey King mecha flew at a constant speed in front of the spaceship. At this time, on the medium-sized cruiser Amaterasu on the opposite side, the ferocious star pirate leader Ichiro Takeda laughed. A group of ants dare to resist. The mecha team rushes up, crush those two mechas, and capture the spaceship alive. Chapter 140 A Rich Harvest. The distance is 400, and it has entered the secondary gun range. Zhang Yingying reminded. At this time, Xia Xingchen locked a star pirate mech in his sight, and the energy output value of the flowing fire mech rifle was set to 80%. He pulled the trigger, and an orange-yellow laser instantly hit the enemy mech, and a mech instantly exploded. Hit an enemy mech. Zhang Yingying shouted excitedly. Scatter, there are snipers. What a joke, can you hit it from such a distance? The commander of the star pirate mech said depressedly. Generally speaking, in the universe, the energy intensity of lasers will decrease by half for every 200 kilometers increase in range. The range of a large laser cannon of a general spacecraft is 500 kilometers, and it is difficult to penetrate the armor of the opponent's spacecraft at a distance. The laser cannon of mech has lower energy. The maximum range of the most common mech laser rifle is about 100 kilometers. Xia Xingchen's mouth corners slightly raised, and the energy of the flowing fire rifle was fully charged in 3 seconds. Xia Xingchen aimed at another mech, and fired another shot, exploding another mech. The short distance of a few hundred kilometers was a torture for the star pirates. When they entered the 100 kilometer distance, 9 star pirate mechas had been blown up. At this distance, they were also within the star pirates' range, and they began to shoot at black hole number 1. I'm going to the front, brother Haocheng. Keep an eye on the ones that slipped through the net. I'll take care of them all. Xia Xingchen said, and stepped on the power pedal. The white light behind the mecha became bright, and the Dragon Rider warrior turned into a white light and rushed towards the enemy mecha group. Through this repair of the Dragon Rider warrior mecha, Xia Xingchen replaced all the 8 small blow light engines on the Dragon Rider warrior mecha with white light engines, and the power of the entire mecha increased by 15%. The enemy's 11 mechas pointed their guns at Xia Xingchen, and Xia Xingchen dodged the opponent's lasers, firing a laser every 1 or 2 seconds. When Xia Xingchen blew up the last star pirate mecha, the captain's machine, he had not yet used the Dragon Rider system. 200 meters from the enemy ship, electromagnetic catapult, fire, Yingying said, and personally pressed the firing button of the main gun. An armor-piercing projectile made of super hard space alloy flew towards the enemy warship at high speed under the powerful effect of the strong magnetic field generated by the electromagnetic coil. The bow of the Amaterasu, a Mikami medium-sized space cruiser, is 2 rams like huge bullhorns. A few hundred years ago, the power of laser weapons was limited, and many space warships still had thick armor, or even light shield systems, so some warship designers installed rams on the bow. In close-range situations or close combat, warships equipped with rams can even knock the enemy warship into 2 pieces. Charge the main gun. Prepare to fire. Takeda Ichiro was furious. Seeing that the mecha team was completely wiped out, he did not consider capturing the opponent alive. He just wanted to kill the opponent to vent his anger. But as soon as he finished speaking, the hull shook violently, and a violent explosion occurred at the bow. Takeda Ichiro was thrown from the command seat to the ground. His head hit the instrument, and blood gushed out immediately. Damn it, what's going on? Takeda yelled. Report. We were hit. The enemy hit our main gun. The main gun was blown up, and now all the weapons in the front of the battleship are paralyzed. The co-pilot of the cruiser reported the damage to the battleship. Go ahead. Turn on the engine. Run at full power. Crash them to death. I want to smash them into meat sauce. Generally speaking, the engines of battleships rarely run at full power. Running at full power for more than 1 minute will cause permanent damage to the battleship engines, and the maximum power of the battleship will be seriously reduced. Running at full power for more than 3 minutes, then you can only pray for good luck. The engine can explode at any time. At this time, Takeda Ichiro could no longer take care of so many things. Main gun salvo, dive to the right at a distance of 50, Zhang Yingying ordered, and we Wei Yan tightly grasped the joystick. 2 extremely strong lasers and an electromagnetic armor-piercing shell hit the bow of the Amaterasu, and the huge explosion knocked one of the rams off course. But its speed did not slow down at all. Takeda Ichiro raised his head. He was now on the bridge in the middle of the battleship. At this time, he felt an orange light outside the porthole on the right. He turned his head and a bright orange light flashed in front of him. The entire bridge was cut in half by a blazing energy. The explosion of the bridge caused the engine compartment to explode. The entire Amaterasu medium cruiser turned into a huge fireball. Pull up 45 degrees at full speed and open the energy shield to the maximum. Zhang Yingying shouted, and Wei Yan operated quickly and accurately. The head of the Black Hole No. 1 spacecraft quickly raised its head. The huge shock wave of the explosion of the Amaterasu hit, and the energy shield of the Black Hole No. 1 automatically opened, and the spacecraft was quickly pushed to both sides. At this time, the Dragon Rider's mecha also hid far away. The smoke cleared, and the entire medium-sized cruiser was blown into pieces of scrap metal. Xingchen, please approach the target carefully, and confirm the results of the battle. Yingying said. Understood. Xia Xingchen agreed, and operated the mecha to carefully approach the wreckage of the warship, fully activated the inside skill, and fully activated the mecha detector. Report to the black hole. No signs of life were found, and the opponents were all destroyed. Yeah, we won. Vivian shouted excitedly. She was a little frustrated at first, feeling that her luck was not good. She encountered such a large-scale pirate just a few days after setting off, but she was confident that she could get rid of the pirate's pursuit with her driving skills and the performance of the spacecraft. But she didn't expect these daring companions to rush up and fight as soon as they disagreed, and won a complete victory. Return home, the two of you. The Monkey King is returning. The Dragon Riders returned. Vivian adjusted the flight attitude of the warship and aimed at the original route. The two mechas fell into the mecha cabin and the hatch was closed. Xia Xingchen and Hao Cheng walked out of the cockpit. They checked the mecha, recharged it, and returned to the cockpit. Welcome back, two warriors. Zhang Yingying said. Great, Captain. I love you so much. I want to have a baby with you, said the enthusiastic Vivian, almost jumping on him, causing Xia Xingchen to blush. Xingchen, you're not nice enough. You didn't even leave one for me, Hao Cheng said, a little depressed. Okay, I'll definitely leave one for you next time, but you have to protect our spaceship. I don't want to wander around in space in a mecha. Xia Xingchen agreed. Captain, let's see what we've gained, Yingying reminded. Xia Xingchen uploaded the battle videos on the mecha and the spaceship to the mercenary group's management agency through a special device using the Skynet system. An hour later, the reply was sent back to Black Hole No. 1. The Black Hole mercenary group destroyed a total of 20 pirate mechas in this battle, and each destroyed mecha was rewarded with 10 million star coins, a total of 200 million star coins. Destroyed a pirate medium cruiser, and was rewarded with 1 billion star coins. Killed the pirate leader, Takeda Ichiro, and received a reward of 1 billion star coins, a total of 2.2 billion star coins. Since this mission was issued by the military, the mercenary management agency only collected 10% of the management fee, and they received a total of 1.98 billion star coins. And they got a lot of points, and the mercenary group was promoted to a D-level mercenary group. I've decided, each of you will get a bonus of 500 million star coins. Leader Xia Xingchen made a decision. Leader, I want to marry you. Vivian shouted. Xia Xingchen fell off the chair. Chapter 141 The Krupp Family. For the next 4 or 5 days, the journey was smooth. Vivian stared at the radar screen all day hoping that some blind star pirates would run into the muzzle of the gun, but she didn't see even a ghost. Ying, why are there no star pirates yet? I'm still waiting for the bonus. The tuition is so expensive. Ian said coquettishly. Well, Sister Vivian, your 500 million star coins bonus is enough for you to study in the military academy for a lifetime. Ying was helpless. This Ms. Vivian seemed to be very obsessed with money. Oh, that's someone's dowry. Aren't you going to marry the head of the group so that he can support you? Do you still need a dowry? Ying teased. Yes, but that's also my private money. Xia Xingchen fell off the chair again after hearing this. The Krupp family is a huge industrial family that has existed since the Earth era. For thousands of years, they have been at the forefront of the world in the fields of minerals, metallurgy, and arms. After thousands of years of accumulation, how much wealth this family has, even their current patriarch Xia Krupp can't tell the question. Xia Krupp is in his 50s, in the prime of his life, and has 3 sons. The eldest son, John Krupp, has no interest in business. He has devoted himself to artistic creation since he was a child and is now a well-known painter. The second son, William Krupp, is 22 years old this year and is a student at the Imperial Business School, but he has already started to manage the family business. Xia once said that his second son's talent in business far exceeds his own. The third son, Mario Krupp, is also a very capable person, but his talent is far inferior to his second brother, but his ambition is not small. The Krupp Group controls nearly 40% of the mineral resources in the Milky Way, and it can be said that it holds the lifeline of the Galactic Empire. Prince Nicholas has always wanted to win over Xia Krupp, but Mr. Xia is an ardent patriot who has long disliked Nicholas. Krupp's mineral products only give a maximum of 15% of the quota to the Northern Administrative Region each year, and some strategic weapons such as fortress cannons and star-breaking bombs are not provided to the North at all. Xia once said publicly that his family was a staunch supporter of the Galactic Empire and would not export weapons to any ambitious person. Therefore, Xia Krupp became one of the targets of the Northern Paralysis operation. On Siberia, in a secret room under the prince's palace, Prince Nicholas was contacting Yuri through a secret communication channel. My dear Yuri, you seem to have gained weight again. How are you preparing for the paralysis operation? Nicholas asked. Your Majesty, it can be launched now. We have prepared the scapegoat. Now Nicholas's confidants have begun to call Nicholas Your Majesty instead of Your Highness. The Krupp father and son must be killed this time. This is related to my very important plan. Do you understand? Yes, My Majesty. Also, Yuri, you should lose weight. Prince Nicholas cut off the video communication and connected with his Minister of Internal Affairs Chekhov. Chekhov, are you ready? Yuri is ready to launch it. Nicholas asked. Your Majesty, we have firmly controlled Mario Krupp. He promised that, as long as we help him obtain the position of the head of the family, the Krupp Group will follow Your Majesty's lead in the future. And he will help us manufacture strategic weapons immediately. Can this Mario suppress the others in the group? Your Majesty, Xia Krupp owns 60% of the shares of the Krupp Group. According to the rules of their Krupp family, only male heirs have the right of inheritance. And for insurance, we have done a lot of work and have won the support of the other 5% of Krupp shareholders. What Chekhov called work was nothing more than those means of coercion and inducement. Okay, this matter can only succeed, not fail. Nicholas said seriously. Western Administrative Region, Röstar Region. Painter John Krupp is holding a personal exhibition in the art gallery of the commercial center of Röstar. In order to support his son's beloved career, Xia Krupp, the patriarch of the Krupp family, came to the scene in person to participate in the unveiling ceremony of his son's work. On the outer wall of the Röhr Cultural and Arts Center, a 10 meter by 10 meter model is covered with a curtain. 2 huge engineering mechas extended their long mechanical arms to remove the curtain. On the rostrum next to them, the CEO of Röstar was giving an enthusiastic speech. Today, we are honored to attend the exhibition and unveiling ceremony of the most talented artist on Röstar, Mr. John Krupp. The distinguished guests attending the ceremony today are Mr. Xia Krupp, chairman of Krupp Industrial Group, Now, let us take a glimpse of the true appearance of this great work. Applause broke out in the crowd. The engine of the engineering mecha roared, and the mechanical arm supported the edge of the painting and pulled it down hard. Hey, what are they doing? Someone in the crowd noticed something was wrong. The two mechas did not remove the curtain, but were tearing down the painting with force. Soon, they went from confusion to horror. The giant painting of 10 meters by 10 meters was torn off the wall, and the whole painting smashed onto the rostrum and the VIP seats behind it. John Krupp is a new school painter. His paintings are painted on alloy drawing boards with waterproof paint, while driving a mecha and holding a brush several meters long. This 10 meter by 10 meter painting weighs several tons, and the entire rostrum and most of the VIP seats are crushed underneath. Two engineering mechas suddenly rushed onto the collapsed painting board, trampled on the alloy board, and crushed the people under the alloy painting board into meat paste. After that, the two engineering mechas rushed into the chaotic crowd, trampled, crushed, and hammered with mechanical arms. While slaughtering, they shouted slogans such as equality for all and freedom for miners. When the military and police mechas that maintained order came a few seconds later and beat the two engineering mechas into sieves, the whole scene had become a purgatory on Earth. At this time, William Krupp was riding his private spacecraft to the Lowland starfield, where a large mineral resource star with huge reserves was discovered. William Krupp came here specifically to investigate, and he would decide whether the Krupp group would participate in the development of this mineral resource star. This was originally Ethan Krupp's job, but he had to attend his second son's art exhibition, so he asked his second son to do it. He also wanted to train his second son. William was watching the news on his laptop, and suddenly dozens of urgent breaking news came into his eyes. He clicked on the link. Chapter 142 Attack. These breaking news are very shocking. The planet Rare suffered a terrorist attack. At the unveiling ceremony of the painter John Krupp's solo exhibition, two engineering mechas rushed into the crowd and started a massacre. In this attack, 385 people, including the chief executive of the Rare District, chairman and president of Krupp Industries Ethan Krupp, and the painter John Krupp, were killed, and 560 people were injured, 315 of whom were seriously injured. The military police shot and killed the two assailants on the spot. The police quickly controlled and searched the Rare municipal group to which the two engineering mechas belonged, and raided the homes of the two mecha divisions on duty, only to find that they had been killed in their homes, and that the attackers were someone else. According to the live video posted on Skynet, the attackers shouted slogans for the freedom of the miners. Afterwards, some media also received statements that the Rare branch of the Galaxy Freedom Army claimed responsibility for the incident. Medical experts said that most of the victims were crushed under the alloy drawing boards and crushed by the mechas, and they were all turned into meat paste. Now no medical technology can save them, and even the bodies cannot be separated. The Galactic Freedom Army issued a statement claiming that the Galactic Freedom Army does not have a Rare branch and will not launch such a brutal terrorist attack. They claimed that someone was impersonating the Galactic Freedom Army with ulterior motives. However, the Galactic Freedom Army seems to have forgotten the assassination of Prince Nicholas a few months ago. This organization is now very dangerous. The Imperial Ministry of the Interior said it will thoroughly investigate the mastermind behind the attack and severely punish the murderer. The military said it will conduct a large-scale hunt for the suspects, but expressed doubts about whether the Galactic Freedom Army planned the attack. On Antarctica, the chairman of the Wama Food Group died in a suicide attack. The Antarctic branch of the Galactic Freedom Army announced that it was responsible for the incident. The Wama Group is the largest food production company in the Galactic Empire, and 80% of the military's space food is provided by them. The Galactic Empire's Minister of Education was attacked by two miners while on a business trip and is now in critical condition. Krupp Industrial's stock price plummeted 12%. The board of directors decided to hold an emergency mobilization meeting in a month to determine the new president. William Krupp shouted, tears streaming down his face. The tragic death of his father and brother, and the turmoil that his family will face, dealt him a heavy blow. Galactic Freedom Army, I will not let you go. William Krupp gritted his teeth. After a while, he calmed down. He felt that all this seemed not so simple, and there seemed to be a huge conspiracy hidden behind it. No matter who you are, I will tear you into pieces. He came to the captain's room and asked the captain if they could rush back to the Krupp industrial headquarters on Ro within a month to attend the interim board meeting of the Krupp group if they went to Lowland for inspection first, and he got an affirmative answer. They were riding on the latest medium-sized high-speed cruiser newly produced by Krupp Industries, which was only launched last year. They could definitely rush back before the board meeting. So William decided to continue his journey. Suddenly, a shrill red alarm sounded in the ship. Report to the captain. A large number of warships, more than 30 medium-sized cruisers, and more than 50 small high-speed ships were discovered 8,000 kilometers away. They look like pirates. The co-pilot informed the captain of the situation. Master William, please go to the mecha and wait. This gang of pirates is particularly brutal. It seems that all the pirates in this starfield have been dispatched this time, and they are coming for us. You may be able to escape with the performance of your mecha, but we will fight to the death. The captain was very experienced, and he quickly judged the situation. William was very moved. He gave the captain a tight hug, and turned to the mecha cabin. William sat in his mecha. He was a C-class mecha master, and passed the assessment, but his level was a bit exaggerated, because his personal mecha performance was too advanced. He completely relied on the performance of the mecha to crush his opponents of the same level. His Hellraven mecha integrates the technological crystallization of Krupp Industries. Hellraven mecha, height 5.2 meters parameters, strength 22, agility 23, armor 35, speed 35. The power system of the Helljackdaw mecha uses a latest KLB2 macro-controlled nuclear fusion mecha engine developed by Krupp Industrial Mecha Laboratory. The comprehensive performance of this engine has now surpassed the Lungsan 5 nuclear-powered mecha engine, a product of Tang Dynasty Group that has been mass-produced on a small scale. However, its cost is more than twice that of the latter, so it has not been mass-produced. Only 3 units have been produced, 2 of which are in the laboratory, and the other was given to Eason Krupp as a birthday gift to his second son. The weapon system of the Helljackdaw mecha is very powerful. The mecha shoulders are equipped with 2 small plasma cannons, 2 multi-purpose mecha laser rifles, and 2 light energy swords. The entire body is equipped with 3 light energy shield systems that can resist 3 laser attacks at the same time. The body of the mecha also uses the most advanced energy absorbing alloy, which can release a large amount of energy to neutralize external attacks when hit by lasers. There are 4 laser cannons on the back of the mecha that can attack backwards. In addition, the tips of the 6 pairs of foldable wings behind the mecha can extend 6 retractable light energy blades. In terms of the power system, the mecha is equipped with a medium-sized red light thruster on the back, and the thrusters on the rest of the body are the latest white light thrusters. With Krupp's financial resources, all thrusters can be replaced with red light thrusters, but the acceleration generated by that is not something William can bear now. His current physical strength and mental strength level are simply unable to control it. Therefore, for his safety, William's mecha does not use all red light thrusters. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, Help. Distance 800. All mechas deployed. Main guns fired. The captain issued an order, and the medium-sized cruiser ejected all mechas. Seeing that the opponent entered the range, the 2 main guns fired to lasers, and 2 small spaceships were destroyed immediately. Disperse. Fire with all your strength. The commanding starship issued an order, and the starships of the pirates scattered. The sky was lit up by lasers. However, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Finally, the cruiser was hit by more than a dozen lasers at a distance of 200 kilometers from the star pirates and exploded tragically. William's eyes were wet. He had a very good personal relationship with these guards over the years. Now, these people died for him, and William felt very uncomfortable. At this time, a large number of mechas were released from the starships and warships of the opposite star pirates, with a total of more than 500, attacking William and his men. Master William, your mecha is fast. Please evacuate to the asteroid belt in the distance. We can't escape now. Please avenge us. William knew that they were telling the truth, so he hardened his heart and turned away. His guards drove the Mechas bravely towards the pirates. Not long after, their Mechas and a large number of pirate Mechas turned into dust in the universe. The Mechas flew at high speed for more than half an hour, and the asteroid belt was not far ahead. Suddenly, the alarm sounded, and an Icefield-class heavy cruiser attacked at high speed from not far away. Not long after, the mecha ejection ports of the cruiser opened one after another, and 50 Mechas came out in a line. William saw that there was an interception in front, and it was obviously impossible to avoid it this time. Facing the invading opponent, the Hellraven hovered in space. The two plasma cannons on the shoulders began to charge. At this time, the Icefield-class cruiser was 80 kilometers away from him, and the opponent's mecha was less than 50 kilometers away from him. The Icefield-class heavy space cruiser sounded a rapid alarm. High energy response ahead. The co-pilot of the warship shouted loudly, but before he finished speaking, two purple plasmas streaked across the bridge, and the entire bridge was cut in the middle. Because the cockpit was destroyed, although it did not cause a secondary explosion, the entire warship was paralyzed in space. Moreover, more than a dozen space pirate mechas on the plasma line were reduced to ashes. Ah, I'm so angry, shoot. The leader was a specially made black mecha, which was modified from the Black Lord mecha. The mecha was equipped with a large thruster behind it, and the weapon was a large mecha laser rifle. The mecha master in this mecha was the leader of this gang of space pirates. Black Fox. Speaking of Black Fox, here's an old acquaintance of Xia Xingchen. He originally colluded with Major General Edward of the local military on Manastar, and his business of robbery, smuggling arms, and human trafficking was booming. But he was so blind that he kidnapped the Star Princess of the Galactic Empire. In order to curry favor with the royal family and General von Klosch, Edward killed this business partner and wanted to take credit for his life. However, Black Fox was extremely cunning. When he found that something was wrong, he even gave up his old nest and fled from Manastar with his elite troops to seek development in Lowland Star region. Because Black Fox's subordinates were very powerful and he was cunning and good at fighting, he quickly gained a foothold here and annexed more than a dozen local star pirate forces of all sizes, eventually becoming the largest star pirate in Lowland Star region. Since the Western Star region is the most important mineral base and heavy industrial base of the Galactic Empire, Nicholas would definitely not let it go if he wanted to rebel, and Lowland Star region is the closest to the Northern Star region, which is only separated from the Northern Star region by an asteroid belt. And there is also a jump channel. So Nicholas attaches great importance to this place. He bought a large number of star pirates here, promised them high positions and generous salaries, and supported their many eliminated warships and mechas. Among them, there is even an Icefield-class heavy cruiser, which was the main battleship of the Galactic Empire 70 or 80 years ago. This only heavy cruiser was naturally occupied by Black Fox. All the pirates in the Lowland Star region received orders to kill William Krupp, and the entire operation was commanded by Black Fox. Although the pirates were reluctant, they had to do it under the pressure of Black Fox and Nicholas. According to the news from within the Krupp group, the pirates knew the performance, firepower, number of mechas, routes, thermal pattern parameters, etc. of William Krupp's ship. Black Fox was very cunning. He took out half of the reward promised by Nicholas as bait, and told other pirates that whoever killed William Krupp first would get half of the reward. He did this not because he was generous, but because he knew that the cruiser had fierce firepower and that being the first to stand out would result in heavy losses. Moreover, he judged that William would most likely use his high-performance mecha to escape to the asteroid belt, so he set up an ambush here in advance, intending to achieve the greatest results at the lowest cost. Who knew that the Hell Jackdaw mecha was so fierce that it severely damaged his warship and destroyed more than 10 mechas. After firing at full power, the plasma cannon was scrapped. William pressed a button on the console, and two plasma cannons fell off the shoulders of the mecha. William increased his horsepower and fled, shooting backwards while running. The dense artillery fire of the star pirates made him a little overwhelmed. Although his mecha was protected by a light energy shield system, the artillery fire was too dense and the light energy shield could not fully take care of it. It had a limit to its tolerance, especially the special Black Duke mecha behind him. He chose the timing of shooting very delicately. He often fired at the moment when the Helljacked or mecha was hit by other lasers and the light energy shield system strength decreased. In particular, one of the shots hit the left leg of the Helljacked or mecha, which was broken at the time, and the speed of the mecha suddenly slowed down a lot. At this time, the situation was already very critical. William Krupp found a spaceship on the distant channel. From the outside, it looked like a small high-speed military reconnaissance ship. He hurriedly sent a distress signal on the public communication channel. This spaceship was Black Hole Number 1. Their detectors had discovered these mechas early and issued an alarm. Everyone came to the cockpit and came to the combat position. Azimuth 89, 76, 24, distance 6000. A mecha is sending a distress signal, and 36 mechas are shooting at the mecha in front at a distance of 6200. Hao Cheng and I are on standby, adjusting the course to prepare for the enemy. The two went straight to the mecha cabin. Distance 5500, all ship guns are charged, and the fire control radar is locked on the target. Distance 5000, the optical imaging detector is turned on. The other party is a private mecha, and the types of the pursuing mechas are very messy. They should be space pirates. Communication connected, Zhang Yingying said. At this time, William's figure appeared on the screen. I'm William. I was attacked by space pirates. My spaceship has been destroyed. They want to kill me. Please help me. At this time, another communication request lit up. Zhang Yingying clicked it, and a ferocious figure appeared in front of her. We are the Black Fox space pirates. If you don't want to die, get out of here. This person is the Black Fox. He didn't want to cause trouble and increase the casualties of his own people, so he wanted to scare Xia Xingchen and others away. Chapter 144, Blow. Xia Xingchen saw the familiar figure on the screen in the public channel and smiled. He gave an order. Yingying, save him, beat him hard. He is the Black Fox, who ran over from Manastar. I have a big grudge against him, and he still owes me a shot, but he came to my door to die. Understood. Zhang Yingying agreed. Distance 1000, thruster power 50%, mecha dispatched. Main laser 1 and 2 guns 70% power alternately aim and fire. Close, in defense gun unlocked. At this time, the front main guns of the mecha fired alternately. Although the distance was far and the laser was not full power, it was enough to shoot at the mecha. Several armor plates on the hull of Black Hole Number 1 suddenly rose, revealing the 8 quadruple laser rapid fire guns that could rotate in any semicircular direction. Xia Xingchen, Dragon Rider, attack. Hao Cheng, Monkey King, somersault cloud system, attack. The two mechas flew out of the spaceship one after the other. As usual, you protect the spaceship and I'll be responsible for sniping, Xia Xingchen ordered. Then you have to leave a few for me, Hao Cheng muttered. It depends on the level of those pirates, Xia Xingchen said. The Dragon Rider mech had landed on the top of the mech. The mechanical arm fixed the Dragon Rider, and the flowing fire mech rifle was adjusted to sniper mode. Xia Xingchen started the game of shooting wild ducks 300 kilometers away. 10 shots, 10 mechas exploded. At this time, the main gun of the spacecraft had also killed 7 or 8 mechas. Black Fox immediately felt bad, especially the mech on the top of the spacecraft. The orange-yellow laser seemed to reap the lives of his men like the sickle of the god of death. He was angry and secretly hovered in space. The mech laser sniper rifle aimed at Xia Xingchen. At this time, Xia Xingchen also found the familiar modified Black Duke mech, and the Croshers instantly locked it. The two pulled the trigger at the same time, and 2 lasers, one orange and one purple, collided in space, bursting with brilliant light. The rifles of the two were charging. Black Fox's mecha rifle is a C-class mecha weapon, while Xia Xingchen's flowing fire mecha rifle is a quasi S-class weapon, and it is directly charged from the spacecraft. He finished charging 1 second faster than Black Fox. It was this 1 second difference that Black Fox's cockpit was blown up. The remaining 17 mechas turned around and ran away when they saw that the situation was not good. At this time, they had entered the firing range of the close-in defense guns. The dense lasers in the sky lit up, and more than a dozen mechas of the Star Pirates were destroyed by the ship's guns. The remaining few were named one by Xia Xingchen with a sniper rifle. Yingying, open the number 3 mecha cabin. Prepare the landing arrest net, and don't open the internal hatch until you have identified the person coming. Xia Xingchen was very careful. In space, there are many cases where star pirates pretend to be victims and sneak into spacecraft to rob and destroy. Understood. Ying nodded. She turned on the public channel. Mr. William, please land in the number 3 mecha cabin. The one with the flashing green light on the door, is it? Thank you, ma'am, but I remind you that in the direction I came from, there are about 80 pirate warships and spaceships, and 400 to 500 pirate mechas about 36,000 kilometers away. Please avoid them in time. Zhang Yingying nodded. Sister Vivian, are there any other routes? We can go through the asteroid belt. This way we can save 3 days, but there is a certain risk. We may hit asteroids, rubble, etc. Vivian said after checking the nearby star map. Let's do it this way. It's better than encountering hundreds of pirate mechas. Dragon Rider and Monkey King mecha return home. Zhang Yingying ordered. Understood. Everyone answered. The Hellraven mecha collapsed in the mecha landing arresting cable. William Krupp struggled to climb out of the mecha. At this time, his physical and mental strength had reached the limit. At this time, the door to the number 3 mecha cabin opened, and Hao Qing and Xia Xingchen walked in. William saw them, and forced a smile. I think, take a nap. Then he fainted. The two hurriedly carried him to the infirmary, and Hao Qing examined him. Due to long-term combat with alien creatures, he was very experienced in medicine and battlefield first aid. It's okay, physical and mental overdraft, just take a nap, Hao Qing said. Xia Xingchen arranged for Hao Qing to take care of William here, and he quickly returned to the cockpit to check the situation. At this time, black hole number 1 had entered the asteroid belt, and the engine power output was only 40%. Flying too fast here is purely suicidal. Miss Vivian was holding the joystick, and black hole number 1 seemed to have turned into a magnetic levitation racing car, sometimes diving, sometimes rolling, and the main gun and closed defense gun would light up from time to destroy the rubble in the direction of advance. Looking at the large and small stones flying over the hull of the spacecraft on the screen, Zhang Yingying and Xia Xingchen's hearts were in their throats. After more than 5 hours, Vivian's spirit had reached its limit. She slowed down and only ran the engine at 10%. The spacecraft was traveling at a very slow speed. At this time, Xia Xingchen came to take over, and Zhang Yingying came to drive for a few hours. The two of them could still handle the 10% speed. And when Miss Vivian had eaten and rested enough, they once again welcomed the feeling of flying. The spacecraft flew in the asteroid belt for 4 days and 4 nights and finally passed through. According to the star map, they would reach Laulant Star in 2 more days. At this time, in the living room of the spacecraft, William Krupp, Xia Xingchen, Zhang Yingying and Hao Qing sat around the table. Vivian was on duty in the cockpit. William cleared his throat and said, "My name is William Krupp. Thank you very much for saving me. As for what happened, it's a long story. Just ask whatever you want to know. I will tell you everything I know." After a few days of getting along, William found that these people were indeed students of the military academy, and they were all good guys. The most important thing was that the battle that day completely shocked him. Nearly 40 mechas, many of which were high-level mecha masters, were completely wiped out in just over 10 minutes, but they were unscathed. Zhang Yingying asked, "William, the surname Krupp is not very common. What is your relationship with Mr. Eason Krupp of Krupp Industries?" "It's my father. I'm his second son." "How did you know?" William asked. "My name is Zhang Yingying. My father is the minister of the Imperial General Armament Department. He and Uncle Eason are very good friends. This is Xia Xingchen, our captain, C-class mecha master, and senior mecha maintenance technician. This is Hao Qing, a C-class mecha master, and also the doctor and chef of this ship. The beautiful sister in the cockpit is Vivian, our main pilot and navigator. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you." William stood up and greeted everyone again. Then William, now you can tell me why you are here and why you are being chased by space pirates. Zhang Yingying asked. William didn't say anything, but stood up and took out a reader from the bag beside him and handed it to Zhang Yingying. After reading this, you will understand everything. Chapter 145 Analysis. Xia Xingchen and the others took turns to look at the reader, and the information on it was shocking. It is very difficult to obtain information during interstellar travel. Generally, news updates can only be made after the spacecraft approaches certain planets and connects to the Skynet signal. After reading it, everyone was silent. William, what do you think of this matter? Zhang Yingying asked. I don't quite believe some of the things reported. This should not be done by the miners. There must be a conspiracy behind it. But there are many things I can't figure out. William said. Tell us your doubts and we will help you analyze them. Zhang Yingying said. William nodded and began to analyze. First, according to the report, I will assume that this was done by the Galactic Freedom Army. There are several doubts. Doubt 1. If this was done by the Miners' Liberation Organization, the Galactic Freedom Army, then why did they deny it after announcing that they were responsible for the attack? Isn't this redundant or even an attempt to cover up the truth? Doubt 2. The Galactic Freedom Army's use of such drastic measures will lead to severe retaliation from the Empire, and the miners will stay away from such an extremely brutal organization. Is their leader a lunatic who would do such a thankless task? Doubt 3. I believe that the death of my father and brother and my attack this time are not independent events. Obviously, it was the pirates who attacked me, not the miners. Miners and pirates are sworn enemies. If the Empire exploits and oppresses the miners, and the pirates are even more cruel to them, they cannot collude with each other. And as far as I know, the miners' organization does not have that much money to hire so many pirates. Secondly, if my father, brother and I were all dead, then the biggest beneficiary would be my third brother Mario Krupp, who would inherit 60% of Krupp Industries shares. My ambitious third brother would definitely be able to do such a thing. My trip was very secret, and only a few senior members of the Krupp group knew about it. In reality, the pirates knew my route, spacecraft performance, and guard force very well. Moreover, my brother had the financial resources to hire such a large number of pirates. But what I don't understand is that many imperial officials and heads of large companies were attacked this time. If this is a trick created by my brother to muddy the waters, he doesn't seem to have that much power, and doing so doubles the risk. Therefore, based on the above information, I can roughly judge that my third brother must have participated in this matter, but there is a powerful planner behind him. Very wonderful analysis, Zhang Yingying said. Then, he turned to Xia Xingchen and asked, Xingchen, what do you think? A familiar conspiracy, a familiar smell. Supporting puppets, hiring space pirates, muddying the waters, and killing people with borrowed knives. I think I know who did it, Xia Xingchen said, taking out the data storage device and connecting it to the screen in the living room. He operated the virtual operation interface and called up a bunch of data. When you were unconscious, I checked your mecha. Except for the optical brain and nuclear engine, other parts were seriously damaged. I exported the combat data in your mecha. Since your mecha can exchange battlefield data with the mothership through the data link, I got the thermal data and optical images of the warships and mechas that besieged you, Xia Xingchen explained. Through the thermal data and optical images, there is a total of 1 Icefield class heavy cruiser, 16 Orca class medium-sized high-speed cruisers, and 28 Snow Rabbit class small high-speed space reconnaissance ships involved in the attack on you. As the young master of the Krupp Group, you should be familiar with the products of your old competitor, Northern Heavy Industries, Xia Xingchen said. Yes, these types of warships and spaceships have excellent performance, and their biggest advantage is that they are durable. They have been in service in the Northern Administrative Region for more than 50 years. 20 years ago, the Imperial military approved the Northern Administrative Region's application for warship replacement, and I heard that a sum of money was allocated. More than 100,000 warships were sent to the Khabarovsk starfield for dismantling, Krupp said. But, didn't you notice one thing? In the past 20 years, except for a small number of Snow Rabbit class warships, almost no one has seen the Orca class medium-sized high-speed cruiser and the Icefield class heavy space cruiser. This is very abnormal. Generally speaking, in order to recover funds, the military will dismantle some weapons and make certain modifications to push the equipment that has been eliminated by the military into the civilian market. These military modified warships are very popular. However, more than 10,000 Icefield-class heavy cruisers and more than 50,000 Orca-class medium-sized cruisers suddenly disappeared for 20 years, and now they suddenly appear again, which cannot but make people suspicious. Zhang Yingying continued to analyze. Could it be that some big second-hand spaceship dealer is hoarding them? Hao Cheng asked a very amateur question. Brother Hao, don't be ridiculous. You have to know that, even if our black hole number 1 is parked there and not used, the annual maintenance cost is nearly 200 million star coins. The maintenance cost of heavy cruisers and medium cruisers is as high as several billion star coins per year. How big a second-hand dealer do you think can afford to maintain tens of thousands of warships? Besides, more advanced warships are retired every year, and these warships are depreciating every year. Xia Xingchen said. Then what's the point of them doing this? Isn't it just losing money? Hao Cheng was puzzled. Brother Hao, think about it. If a war breaks out between two forces, and they are evenly matched, and suddenly one side has 50,000 more warships, this unexpected situation will play a role in turning the tide of the war. Zhang Yingying said. She frowned and simulated in her mind how to deal with this situation if it happened. Everyone was silent and fell into deep thought. Yingying, what's going on in the Khabarovsk starfield? Xia Xingchen asked. Khabarovsk is a starfield located in the extreme north of the Northern Administrative Region. It is the largest space garbage dump in the north. All scrap mechas, warships and the like will be sent there to be dismantled and recycled. The entire Khabarovsk starfield is 3 times the size of the Lauland starfield. Until now, there is still military control there, and no civilian ships are allowed to enter. The Northern Administrative Region said that they are afraid of star pirates stealing warships and causing trouble. But I suspect that they did not dismantle these scrapped warships at all, but modified them and hid them in the space garbage in the Khabarovsk starfield. In other words, the North now has not only the Northern Fleet, but 2 fleets, or even more. Zhang Yingying said. Xia Xingchen added, William, you can have a bigger picture. You see these news reports, it was not just the Krupp family that was attacked, but more than a dozen key figures of large interstellar groups with close ties to the Empire and the military were killed, as well as some senior officials from key departments of the Empire. Their deaths will plunge these companies into turmoil and stagnation, and this impact may even last for many years. This will seriously affect the Empire's military and overall strength, and buy time for Nicholas. What's more frightening is that if Nicholas takes the opportunity to intervene in the board of directors or heirs of these companies may even become Nicholas's helpers. Chapter 146 Discussing Countermeasures. Several people stayed in the living room of Black Hole number 1 and analyzed what happened recently. William was able to confirm that the mastermind behind this incident was Prince Nicholas. First of all, only Nicholas had the strength to launch such a large-scale attack throughout the Galactic Empire, and only they had the ability to take out so many military warships and spaceships to bribe the star pirates. Second, the biggest beneficiary of these events was Nicholas, who would gain the greatest benefit from it without any loss. Third, details such as the model of the warship also pointed to Nicholas. Is Nicholas going to start a war now? William Krupp murmured. You are wrong. Nicholas started more than 10 years ago. The war has already begun since then. Now all this is just part of his plan. He is just buying time. Xia Xingchen said, and then he described his experience in detail to everyone, including the discovery of the Mecha Division training base established by the North on Watchstar, the rescue of Yuri, the release of stinging scorpions on dozens of planets such as Furustar, the Mecha Division Assessment Center, to win over the Mecha Division, the rebellion of officers at the Military Command Academy, and a series of other actions. I understand. This matter is very clear. This is planned by Nicholas and his men. If I'm not mistaken, if I die at the hands of the Star Pirates, the interim board of directors of the Krupp Group will pass a resolution to release the quota of mineral resources in the north and sell strategic weapons to the north. William said, Nicholas is the Empire's biggest worry and our common enemy. We must unite and fight against them in all fields. Brother Hao Cheng, if your identity is not convenient to intervene in this matter, you can go to the cockpit. Xia Xingchen was very thoughtful. The Holy Temple organization did not intervene in the internal struggles of humans. He did not want to make Hao Cheng too embarrassed. In the Furuxing incident, a holy temple also intervened. According to my master, the high level of the holy temple was very dissatisfied with Nicholas's use of alien creatures to attack humans, which would bring great disasters to humans. He has been blacklisted. If such an incident happens again, he will be hit by the holy temple. And according to our analysis of Nicholas's character, this person will do anything to achieve his goals. He will definitely use this trick again, so dealing with Nicholas does not conflict with our philosophy. Hao Cheng explained. My family has close ties with the military. Once a war breaks out, my family will definitely be on the front line. So, count me in to deal with Nicholas, Zhang Yingying said. Nicholas and I have an irreconcilable feud now. From now on, the Krupp family and Nicholas are mortal enemies. I will do my best to help you, said William Krupp. We are not alone. My rumored Dayren can provide us with intelligence support. In addition, we have a group of people whose families were destroyed by Nicholas. We should integrate our forces. Everyone nodded frequently. At this time, a powerful organization against the North has slowly taken shape. Hao Cheng listened to their conversation while watching the news on his reader. Now they are not far from Lowland Star and can already receive the signal of Skynet. Suddenly, a piece of news came into view. According to RER News, Krupp Group issued a statement saying that the spacecraft of William Krupp, the heir of the family who went to Lowland Star to explore the mineral planet, lost contact a few days ago. Krupp Group suspects that he encountered space pirates and may have met with an accident now. Krupp Group will hold an emergency board meeting in advance in 10 days. It is reported that after the deaths of Ethan Krupp and John Krupp, William Krupp and Mario Krupp will each inherit 30% of the shares of Krupp Industrial Group. Now William Krupp's whereabouts are unknown. If nothing unexpected happens, Mario Krupp will become the chairman of Krupp Industries without any suspense. Look. Hao Cheng handed the reader to everyone to circulate. I have to rush back before the board meeting. It would be best if I could have a few days to make arrangements. I will definitely take back control of the Krupp Group. By then, I will give Nicholas some big gifts. If the Krupp Group is controlled by Nicholas, it will be very bad. Xingchen, can you send me to Leuben Star? Can our spacecraft get there within 10 days? William asked. Xia Xingchen turned on the communicator in the cockpit. Vivian, how long will it take us to reach Lowland Star? And how long will it take to get from Lowland Star to RER Star? If we use the fastest speed and the fastest route, how long will it take? I need an accurate answer. This is very important, he said seriously. Wait a minute, let me calculate it. We were inoperated on the optical computer for a while, and the result was calculated. Our current engine output power is 65%. At this speed, we can reach Lowland Star Space Station tomorrow night, and it will take a full 7 days from Lowland Star Space Station to Rule Star. If we use 90% to 95% engine output power, we can reach Lowland Star Space Station early tomorrow morning, and then it will take 5 days from Lowland Star to Rule Star. Vivian gave the answer. Can it be arranged in 3 days? Xia Xingchen asked William. 2 days will be enough. Okay, Vivian, go at full speed as you said. We will reach Lowland Star early tomorrow morning, and then use more than 10 hours to prepare the spacecraft, and set off immediately on the same day, and must reach Rule Star within 7 days. Xia Xingchen issued an order. Understood, Captain. Vivian cancelled the automatic driving, the engine power slowly increased, and black hole number 1 flew towards the distance at high speed. At a berth on the Lowland Star Space Station, black hole number 1 slowly docked. A huge mechanical arm fixed the spacecraft, and various pipes were connected to the spacecraft. The sealed passages for passenger and cargo were also connected to the passenger and cargo hatches of the spacecraft. The engine of the spacecraft was shut down, and several engineering mechas and maintenance robots quickly stepped forward to carry out maintenance and material supply work on the spacecraft. In order to conceal his presence, Xia Xingchen got off the spacecraft alone, and the others stayed on the spacecraft, especially William. It was still very dangerous before he arrived at RER Star. If his brother Mario knew he was still alive, he would not let him go. In this way, it would be difficult for him to get back to RER Star in time. Xingchen and Master Two Figures ran in quickly from the entrance of the passenger passage, and the three hugged each other tightly. The people who came were Xia Xingchen's comrade Perlo and Xia Xingchen's Terami servant, Yugo, who was collected on Furustar. Yugo was still the same, an alien more than 2 meters tall, wearing a well-fitting combat uniform, and an alloy dagger in the scabbard at his waist. He always carries a dagger with him, saying that it makes him feel safe. Perlo seemed like a different person. The handsome guy with blonde hair now has a buzz cut, giving him a very capable look. He wears a pair of red glasses on his head, which looks very cool. Welcome to Black Hole number 1. Chapter 147 Reminiscing. Xia Xingchen introduced Perlo and Yugo to the crew. Everyone was very interested in this blue-skinned Terami and this handsome guy who always wore headband glasses. But now was not the time to reminisce, because the two mechas had been transported to the berth and sent into the cargo hold. They needed to take the mechas out of the mecha transport container and place them in the mecha hangar. Yugo's mecha transport container was opened, and he climbed into the cockpit happily. The blue indicator light on the head of the mecha lit up, and the mecha stood up and walked towards the number 4 mecha hangar according to the instructions of the spacecraft cockpit. This mecha named Terami Warrior was specially built for Yugo by Father Free, and it is also the only mecha built for Terami in the world. Terami Warrior Mecha, height 6.6 meters parameters, strength 25, agility 25, armor 25, speed 28. The appearance and limb proportions of this blue mecha are very similar to those of a Terami. This is a fighting mecha, which can fully display the martial arts of the Terami people. The weapons of the mecha include a mecha laser rifle that looks like a crossbow, and can shoot 3 lasers at the same time. The long-range weapons of the Terami people are generally javelins and darts, but after contact with humans use crossbows and other weapons to exchange supplies with the Terami people. The Terami people appreciate crossbows very much, and they have shown great talent in the use of crossbows. So Father Free equipped him with this weapon. There is a round shield on the left arm of the mecha, and 4 light javelins are inserted behind the mecha. These light javelins can also be connected together to form light spears. In addition, the joints of the mecha are reinforced with armor, which can be used directly to attack the opponent's mecha. The most special thing about the Terami Warrior Mecha is its operating system. Since the mental power level of the Terami people can only barely reach level 10 according to human standards, and their way of thinking is completely different from that of humans. Therefore, it is almost impossible for them to directly operate the mecha through mental power. Father Free had an idea. He adopted the most common mecha control method used before the emergence of mental power control mecha, body simulation control. The body simulation control system is like a human-shaped coffin. The mecha master lies in it, and there will be countless mechanical arms and sensors connected to the mecha master. The mecha master can do various actions in this coffin, and the mecha will make various corresponding actions. And according to the different output power of the mecha's limbs, the mecha master can also feel the working condition of the mecha from the power fed back by these mechanical arms. In fact, for fighting mecha, this operation method is the most reasonable and can best exert the power of the mecha master's martial arts. However, one problem with this control method is that it consumes too much physical strength of the mecha master, so it was replaced by mental power control hundreds of years ago. However, for the Terami people, physical strength will never be a problem. Of course, Father Free also designed a mental power headband to replace the operating cases on the dashboard and for aiming. Yugo liked this mecha very much. After a few months of familiarity, he could even drive the Terami Warrior Mecha to fight against Li Xiang's modified Tornado Mecha. In Li Xiang's words, no mecha master below level C can be Yugo's opponent. Then Perlo's mecha transport container was also opened. Inside was a black mecha and a huge mecha laser sniper rifle. Perlo put his arm around Xia Xingchen's shoulders and said proudly, "This is my wife. How cool is she?" Although this mecha is black, it has a special name, White Death. It is named after a great sniper on Earth before humans entered the space age. He came from a very weak country. In a war against the invasion of a powerful neighboring country, he sniped more than 500 enemy troops in less than 4 months. He is also an outstanding special operations expert. He always wears a white cloak and appears and disappears in the snow-covered forest, harvesting the lives of invaders. People gave him a resounding nickname, White Death. This white also represents a kind of despair and panic in the hearts of the enemies. White Death Mecha. 5 meters tall parameters. Strength 15, agility 15, armor 18, speed 33. This is a high-speed sniper-specific mecha. In terms of weapon system, the main weapon of the White Death Mecha is a huge mecha laser rifle. This mecha laser rifle has reached the B-level mecha weapon standard. It can snipe 5 consecutive shots, and one shot can be completed after charging for 2.5 seconds. There is a shield on the left arm of the mecha, and 2 laser rapid-fire cannons on the chest and back of the mecha. There are 2 light energy swords on the waist of the mecha. The biggest feature of this mecha is the several special systems designed for sniper warfare. The first is the Chameleon Super Mirage system. The appearance of this mecha can change with the changes of the environmental background, and after the system is started, the light shining on the mecha will be refracted, achieving the effect of complete stealth. And this system also has a huge effect on shielding radar waves. The second system is the life support system. The life support system on the White Death Mecha can work with extremely low energy consumption. The mecha operator can lurk in the mecha for a week to complete the task of ambush the opponent and shoot from behind. The third system is a special thruster. There are 4 thrusters on the mecha that can eject low energy particles. The particles they eject have almost no temperature and energy, allowing the mecha to move slowly without being noticed by the opponent when the chameleon system is turned on. Once the mecha completes the task or is discovered, the white light thruster hidden under the armor plate behind the mecha will provide powerful thrust to ensure that the mecha escapes at high speed in the first time. Now the secret base of Yazi has been initially established. Personnel training and small-scale weapons production have begun, and Papa Free's mecha laboratory has also been put into use. Perlo felt that he could not play his greatest role by staying in the base now, so he asked Papa Free for permission to go out for a walk, and Yugo also clamored to be with Master Xia Xingchen. Papa was unbearable with the quarrels of the two, so he agreed to let them go out to find Xia Xingchen. However, the only regret is that Xia Xingchen's new mecha has not been completed. Papa Free kept modifying his design plan, wanting to create the most powerful personal mecha for Xia Xingchen, but he was helpless now that he was short of money. Papa Free tried his best to complete only half of the mecha, and the work just stagnated there. Perlo, how are your eyes? Xia Xingchen looked into his eyes and asked suddenly. Perlo took off his head-ring glasses, revealing a pair of eyes that were no different from those of ordinary people. Suddenly, the surface of his eyeballs suddenly flipped downwards, turned red, and emitted a creepy red light. Although it was very painful at the time and I almost died on the operating table, it was still worth it. This electronic eye has a telescope, a microscope, X-ray perspective, infrared perspective, data reception, video recording and photography, and can also emit glare for use as flash bombs, and can also emit lasers for weapon guidance. What's even more amazing is that it can emit a special frequency of radio waves to disable all monitoring systems, allowing me to better lurk. This head-ring glasses is a wireless charging device and battery, and can also serve as a camouflage. If I had known it was so powerful, I would have installed a pair if I were not blind. Perlo was very emotional. Chapter 148 Extraordinary Shareholders Meeting. The supply work of the spacecraft is in full swing. System testing, refueling, and a large amount of materials are transported to the spacecraft. It would take a whole day to complete these, but Perlo received a notice from Xia Xingchen yesterday. With the incentive of star coins, the spaceport sent more people, and the supply was completed in 10 hours. Taking this opportunity, Xia Xingchen urgently contacted Dayren and General von Klausch through the secret communication channel, and told them about William's experience and their speculation. General Klausch immediately fed back the news to Marshal von Bismarck, and Dayren also urgently contacted his grandfather. From Dayren, he learned that Li Xiuming's parents and brother were also attacked. However, the security force of the Tang Dynasty group is very strong. Except for Li Xiuming's eldest brother who was slightly injured, no one else is seriously injured. Black Hole number 1 embarked on a journey again, and flew to Ruhr at high speed. The Western Administrative Region of the Galactic Empire has a very important position in the industrial layout of the entire Galactic Empire. There are warship production bases such as RE, as well as mecha research and development bases and technology centers such as Chang'an. RE is a mineral center and weapons production and research and development center. The headquarters of Krupp Industries is here. Krupp Industries production bases have formed dozens of large cities with a population of 1 million on this planet. In one of the largest cities, dozens of shareholders of Krupp Group are meeting here. Mr. von Hewards, the group's vice president, is giving a speech. He is the host of the interim board of directors of Krupp Industries. This old man in his early 60s is a cousin of General von Krausch. The old marshal's family is also one of the major shareholders of Krupp Industries, holding 10% of the shares. After retiring, Mr. von Hewards joined Krupp Industries on behalf of his family. He has a certain talent in business and was appointed as the group's vice president. He is very prestigious in Krupp Group. For the experience of President Eason, John and William, we express our condolences and great regret. Here, on behalf of Krupp Industries, I solemnly warn the masterminds behind the tragedy that we will not let you go. Mr. Hevds, we have more important things to discuss. Krupp Industries must change the previous situation of formalism, overstaffing and inefficiency. Mario interrupted him rudely. Mr. Mario, you don't have any position in the group, and it's not your turn to comment on these things. Hevds was very unhappy. I'm now the largest shareholder and the legal chairman. This is my right granted by the law. Mario said arrogantly. This must be confirmed after the board of directors meets and completes the formalities. Then what are we doing now? Aren't we holding a board meeting? You have to make a problem that can be solved at once so complicated. Please, our time is precious. Look at our group, such a low growth rate. Do any of you care? Mario was furious on the stage, and the shareholders below were all gloomy, and no one spoke. For the future development of our group and to make everyone here earn money, I decided to open up the mineral product quota for the Northern Administrative Region. They are willing to buy various mineral resources from us at a price 50% higher than the current price. Moreover, the Northern Administrative Region is willing to buy weapons such as planetary fortress cannons from us at twice the price. This way, our group's profit can increase by 30% every year. Mario was very proud. Boom. The shareholders below began to whisper to each other. Nonsense. You are trying to get the skin of a tiger. Is Nicholas's money so easy to get? If you make a penny from him, you have to pay with your entire life and property. It's over. Krupp is over. Completely over. You. Von Hewards pointed at him, speechless with anger. Mario slammed the table and said, I won't force you to do it. If you don't want to, you just need to transfer your shares and I will buy them at the market price plus 20%. In fact, the person who really wanted to buy Krupp Industrial's shares was Nicholas, and the price he offered was twice the market price. Mario wanted to get a skin from this as well. You have no right to do this. We will not transfer the shares to you. The shareholders were indignant. Either leave, or shut up now, and wait for your share of the money. Anyway, I have the final say in Krupp Industries in the future. I'm the chairman. Bullshit, you are the chairman? A voice came. Ping. The 3-meter high and several dozen centimeters thick solid wood door of the conference room was kicked open. A team of fully armed people walked in. Mario's eyes widened when he saw the people coming. He pointed at the people and stammered. The person who came was William Krupp, and behind him was a team of soldiers in special uniforms. Who are you? Why are you pretending to be William? Come, take him down. William is dead. Mario shouted hysterically. I was attacked by space pirates, but how do you know that I will definitely die? William looked at him jokingly. He will definitely die, because Mario was furious. Just as he was about to make an excuse, he suddenly felt that it was not appropriate and quickly shut up. Let me help you to say this, because you told the pirates about my itinerary and escort, and asked them to leave no one alive, right? Mario was about to argue, but was interrupted again. You probably don't know, the pirates who besieged me dispatched an Icefield class heavy cruiser, 16 Orca class high-speed medium cruisers, and more than 30 Snow Rabbit class high-speed spaceships. These warships seemed to have disappeared overnight 20 years ago. Who else do you think would own them except Prince Nicholas, whom you admire so much? William said righteously. This is slander, naked slander. Mario shouted hysterically. At this time, 3 dignified old men walked out from behind William, and all the shareholders took a breath of cold air when they saw them. Elders Council. The Elders Council is also called the Elders Council, the Clan Council, etc. in some families. In those large families that have lasted for thousands of years, the scandal of killing fathers and brothers for the position of patriarch often occurs. In order to deter these unworthy descendants and safeguard the interests and bloodline of the family, these big families have established elders councils, including the royal kin family. The elders council is composed of the respected elders in the family. They hold real power and even have powerful military force. Once the patriarch or heir encounters an unexpected event, they will come out to administer justice. Chapter 149 The Path of Choice. The elder of the Senate played a series of battle videos on the big screen in the meeting room. It was the video of William Krupp encountering pirates and being rescued. Everyone took a breath when they saw the densely packed warships, which also confirmed what William said just now. Finally, the screen froze on a specially made Black Duke mecha. Mario, after investigation, we found that you sent an encrypted message from your personal terminal half a month ago. One of the messages was William's itinerary, the performance of the spacecraft and the number of guards. This message was transmitted tens of thousands of times in an attempt to avoid tracking. But you underestimated the technological strength of our Krupp family. In the end, we found that they were transmitted to a pirate named Black Fox. He is the driver of this mecha, the largest pirate leader in Lowland Star region, and the commander of this operation, said the elder. The crowd was talking about it, and everyone was disgusted by Mario's behavior of killing his brother in order to seize the family property. People who can even betray and kill their own brothers are really not good partners. Do you think it's that simple? Through investigation, we found evidence of your collusion with the North. You have been sending Ethan and John's schedule to a secret email address a few months ago. We followed the clues and caught the secret contact. He wanted to commit suicide, but we controlled him and got the truth with memory extraction technology. You, Mario, colluded with the forces from the North and planned and carried out the tragedy on the Rare Star and the ambush in the Lowland Star region. The words of the elder were deafening, and all the shareholders present were shocked. Also, tell everyone who wants to withdraw their shares. Nicholas wants to buy your shares for twice the market price, but my greedy brother won't let go of even this little money. William teased. In addition, there are 5 shareholders present here who have reached a secret agreement with Nicholas. We have solid evidence. Now, you 5 have 2 choices. First, we will buy your shares at the market price, and you will completely withdraw from Krupp Industries. Second, I will hand you over to the Imperial Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Ministry of Intelligence, and then confiscate your shares and your property. The elder said, and at this time 5 soldiers came up and handed over 5 copies of the share transfer agreement. The 5 shareholders immediately looked as hen. One of them cried out loudly, I was wronged. They forced me to do it. William frowned and said, you get a lot of profits from Krupp Industries every year. The Krupp family has never treated you unfairly or let you down, but you want to collude with outsiders to an excess. If you do something wrong, you have to pay the price. You chose the road yourself. If you sign, we are just passers-by, and I will forgive you for the past. But if you don't sign, you will be my mortal enemy, and I will let you taste everything that happened to me. His tone was chilly and instantly filled the entire venue. Several shareholders were forced to sign the transfer agreement. The 10% of Krupp Industries shares were also transferred to William Krupp. The great elder then announced, Mario Krupp colluded with northern forces, killed his father and brother. The facts are clear. The evidence is conclusive. The elders meeting has unanimously decided after discussion to deprive Mario Krupp of his family heir qualifications and all shares, confiscate all his property, expel him from the family, and hand him over to the Imperial Ministry of the Interior for investigation. No, you can't treat me like this. I'm the legal heir. Mario struggled, but it was all in vain. 4 fully armed family guards dragged Mario out of the venue. The 5 shareholders who signed the equity transfer agreement also left the venue like a bereaved family. The door of the venue slowly closed. The shareholders meeting continued, and William Krupp was elected as the new chairman and president of Krupp Industrial Group without any surprise. At this meeting, William Krupp made the following decisions. First, the Krupp family in the elders meeting will continue to investigate the truth of the Changrua Star tragedy and announce the results of the investigation to the media and the Imperial Ministry of the Interior. Second, all business dealings with the Northern Administrative District will be completely terminated. In the words of William Krupp, the North should not think of getting another piece of alloy from the Krupp Group. Third, the Krupp Group will speed up the production of warships and mechas to cope with the upcoming war. Fourth, the Krupp Group will move some production bases close to the northern administrative regions to the south. The entire group must be tense and prepare for war. These 4 measures will bring huge economic losses to the Krupp Group, but the shareholders of the Krupp Group know that it is now time for the survival of the Krupp Group. If a large arms group like Krupp Industries wants to flourish, it cannot do without the support of the rulers in power. Moreover, the upcoming large-scale war will determine the fate of a dynasty. Every time a war of this scale breaks out, many old arms companies will collapse, and many emerging arms companies will step on their corpses to get to the top. If you stand on the wrong side, the end is destruction. Chapter 150 The end of the event. The interim board of directors of the Krupp Group was still meeting intensely. There were a lot of things that William Krupp had to deal with personally, and many things of the group needed to be redeployed. At the same time, a convoy of 3 maglev cars was heading to the headquarters of the Imperial Ministry of Internal Affairs on Ruhr. In the backseat of one of the maglev cars, Mario Krupp, who looked depressed, was handcuffed. Next to him sat an agent of the Imperial Ministry of Internal Affairs. The cell where he was detained was ready. The Ministry of Internal Affairs wanted to interrogate him thoroughly. Countless people were waiting for the result of the interrogation. They wanted a clear explanation. The car was driving on a highway in the city that was specially used for maglev cars. At this time, an engineering mecha suddenly fell from a skyscraper under construction. The huge mecha, hundreds of meters high, was smashing on the maglev car that Mario was riding. The huge impact force even broke the 20-meter wide elevated road surface. Several cars following behind were in no hurry to dodge and rushed down from the viaduct. When the military police cordoned off the scene, the engineering mecha and the maglev car had merged into a pile of scrap metal. The police found Mario Krupp's DNA in a pile of meat paste. It seems that he suffered the same treatment as his father and brothers. Some people speculated that this was a revenge by William Krupp and the Presbyterian Church, while others said that it was planned by Nicholas's men to kill and silence people. The police detected a large amount of alcohol in the blood and flesh of the mecha technician. The video of the construction site also showed that the mecha technician was driving after drinking, stumbling on the construction site with the mecha, and finally tripped by a stone pier. The mecha crashed a wall and fell from the roof. There was nothing abnormal about the life of this mecha technician. It was not the first time that he drove after drinking. He was indeed on duty that day, so the police could only determine that this case was an accident. Immediately afterwards, Krupp Industries held a press conference and announced that William Krupp would become the new president and chairman of the group. Since William's ability had long been recognized by people inside and outside the industry, the stock price of Krupp Group soared as soon as the news came out. At the same time, Krupp Group announced their investigation results on the Ruhr tragedy and the video of William being attacked in Lowland Star region. They severely condemned the Northern Administrative Region government for participating in and supporting terrorist attacks and proposed a plan to sanction the Northern Administrative Region and reserved the right to pursue the case. They also filed a lawsuit with the Supreme Court of the Galactic Empire. The evidence presented by Krupp Industrial Group shocked the entire Galactic Empire, and the relatives of the victims of other attacked companies expressed their support for Krupp Industrial Group. Some things are just a layer of window paper. Once it is pierced, everyone can see clearly. For a time, more than a dozen large interstellar groups that were attacked came up with plans to sanction the Northern Administrative Region, including Tang Dynasty Group and Womar Group. The proposals put forward by the society and the cabinet to sanction Nicholas and arrest him were rejected by the Emperor Kinzeng of the Empire, but the evidence presented by Krupp Group was indeed too conclusive. The ruler of the Galactic Empire still did not believe that Nicholas would do such a thing in his heart. He believed that it was a minor resistance organization that planned such a thing and framed Nicholas. but he didn't dare to call a horse a zebra. If he offended the public, he would not be able to remove the hat of a tyrant, and he might even be impeached by the parliament. He didn't dare to do whatever he wanted, because the elders of the royal family had the power to remove the emperor. In response to these accusations, the Northern Administrative District government of course held a press conference to deny them, saying that the evidence of Krupp Industrial Group was forged and slanderous. At the same time, Nicholas sent several secret troops to sneak into the Lowland starfield quietly, and the local major star pirate forces were wiped out overnight, because Nicholas left backdoors in the warships that supported the star pirates, and they knew the whereabouts of the star pirates. At this time, Black Hole number 1 had set off again and headed for Watchstar. Before leaving Rostar, Xia Xingchen and William Krupp had a secret talk, and then William also joined the Jiaozi organization, because he and Nicholas also had a blood feud. William was still the president of Krupp Industrial Group on the surface. He did not directly participate in the revenge of Yazzie, but he would secretly provide Yazzie with financial and weapon support. In order to thank Xia Xingchen, he also prepared a big gift, but there was not enough time, and Xia Xingchen would not receive it until he returned to Rostar in a few months. William Krupp also left his Hell Jackdaw Mecha to Xia Xingchen. As the president of Krupp Industrial Group, he was busy with all kinds of affairs, and basically had no time to play Mecha in the future. Although the Hell Jackdaw was seriously damaged, it still had a complete medium-sized red light thruster and the KLB-3 microstar-controlled nuclear fusion Mecha engine, which was exactly what Xia Xingchen needed. At this time, in the secret meeting room under the Siberian Star Palace in the Northern Administrative Region, Chekhov and Yuri, the brothers who were not in harmony with each other, were doing the same thing at this time. They lowered their heads, kept silent, and did not even dare to breathe. In front of them was the furious Prince Nicholas. The solid wood conference table and the big screen in the conference room was smashed to pieces by this powerful S-class Mecha master. From time to time, wood chips bounced onto the faces of the two, leaving streaks of blood. But the two dared not move. Waste, you two wastes. Why would I keep you? Two wastes. Yuri, didn't you say it was foolproof? Didn't you say that the pirates were very powerful? More than 80 spaceships ambushed a spaceship and let it escape. And you, Chekhov, didn't you consider the problem of the elders? And your brain-dead intelligence officer, didn't he teach Mario to use a safer way to transmit information? And why didn't he self-destruct when he was caught? I'm so angry. Nicholas's hands were shaking. Originally, he was determined to implement the paralysis plan that had been carefully planned for many years, which was expected to cause great damage to the Galactic Empire. He could also take this opportunity to intervene in some large interstellar groups and create good conditions for future preparations for the war in the north. However, William's escape and the intervention of the Presbyterian Church turned the whole thing upside down. Not only did he fail to take down Krupp Industrial Group, his biggest target, but other victims also shared the same hatred and pointed their spearheads at the north. The joint blockade of these enterprises cut off the imports of important precious mineral resources and weapons in the north, as well as some core components such as mechas and warships. This made the northern heavy industry, which was already overwhelmed by production tasks, even worse, greatly affected Nicholas's preparations for war, and also reduced the quality of the North's military products. What is even more intolerable is that Nicholas's actions have aroused the disgust and vigilance of most people. He is now like a rat crossing the street. Now even if there are miners who really launch terrorist attacks, this shit pot will be put on his head. This has set up many obstacles for his future arrangements and conspiracies. After venting for a long time, he finally calmed down. He looked at his two men with unkind eyes, but he also knew that there was nothing wrong with what they did. Even if he did it himself, he would not do better than them. I was too hasty in this matter. Let's put it this way, paralyze the operation and suspend it for a while. You can use this time to reorganize. The expansion was too fast during this period, the quality of the personnel has declined greatly, and the ideological work has not been done enough. Remember, it is useless to recruit more useless people. I want elites, not straw bags. Yes, Your Majesty, the two said cautiously. Let Northern Heavy Industries work harder. Nicholas turned and left, leaving the two looking at each other. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.